solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
This is the X109B14 modified transistorized totally automatic assembly machine. Within 6 months, our entire production facilities will be totally automated. Ladies and gentlemen, from now on, Whipple will operate from a brain center with machines such as this one.
It used to be, 300 years ago that machines during the Industrial Revolution replaced blue-collar work, very easy-to-do jobs, and then those people got educated and got better-paying jobs. Today, instead, our machines are replacing not the muscle work, but the brain work, right? And when you lose that kind of job, the only place you can go in the economy is usually downward in pay scale.
We treat our fellow humans as machines when we make them do jobs that a robot could do, that simply require repeated mechanical motion, very little scope for the exercise of judgment, of very little scope for communication with other people, the things that actually make us human.
People love to talk to her. In fact, we've done a study where we saw that people disclose more information and feel less judgment, when they think it's a completely automatic system versus having a person.
I'm a third-generation AX400 android. I can look after your house, do the cooking, mind the kids. I organize your appointments. I speak 300 languages, and I am entirely at your disposal as a sexual partner.
The goal of RoboCup Soccer is that by 2050, they will be playing humans against robots, see who's actually better.
Maybe it can eliminate poverty, help us cure all diseases, and so on. But like any powerful technology, it's important to ask, what can we do now to make sure we get these benefits while avoiding pitfalls?
I mean, Google is a search company. They're using AI all over the place. Siri on our phones, that's all just AI in the background of there. Yeah. And so we're going to see more and more penetration of these sort of uses that really help our lives and make our lives easier.
Care bots, what I call care bots, that will do the dishes and keep track of grandma and let her have some control, even if she's got dementia, so that she can go on a walk and be steered back so she can decide what she wants for dinner.
And does the AI community concern itself at all with the future of human employment? For instance, I heard Dr. Russell kind of joke about, well, we'll just let the policymakers figure it out. So he's got a lot of faith, but this is something that's going to happen probably by 2045. A lot of the,
way sooner than that.
It's a difficult problem, and I was at a meeting where there were 5 Nobel Prize-winning economists, and all they wanted to talk about was this question. What's the future of employment and the structure of the economy when most of what we call work now is being done by robots? And unfortunately, even though that was what they really cared about, they had no suggestions.
You go to Japan and there's no one taking your order. You go to a vending machine and you order it. And obviously the Japanese economy has dealt with that.
Sapiens Plurum means the wisdom of many. And it is an organization designed to look out for the interests of humankind as technology develops. Because I agree with you that technology is a very powerful force that humans have created, but will humans continue to control it?
The unfortunate thing is that we kind of get used to hell. There are lots of things about our current world that someone 500 years ago would think of as a vision of hell, but we're kind of used to them. And
fighting to keep our... I must work in a cubicle 12 hours a day. How dare you make my life easier with AI?
Most researchers, most of my friends in the AI field used to think that, well, it's not going to happen in my lifetime, so it's a waste of time to think about it now. But we're seeing in 2015 now that a lot of things are happening that people thought were going to take much longer. And a lot of people are saying, well, maybe these things are going to happen actually in our careers, so now would be a great time to really start looking into them.
Could a weapons system blow up the world? Yeah, it could do it because the computer decides that's the right thing to do, but as far as I can tell, we are way more likely to have that happen when someone sits on something, like the red button.
Personally speaking, I think that the risk that we have from AI is not really of AI becoming autonomous and taking over the world.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show. Alex will join us after the break.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
Year after year, we watched the threat steadily increase. And now, this winter has been the worst on record when it comes to our immune systems and health. For more than 2 years, InfoWarsLife.com has been watching this crisis intensify, and Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex was our answer, using a proprietary process that takes ancient proven herbs and combines them with modern science. This powerful and affordable formula contains more than 14 key herbs and extracts, including echinacea, ginger root, elderberry, golden seal root, a proprietary yin chio formula, and many, many more. I take it, and so does my family. It's made in the USA, gluten-free, alcohol-free, no artificial flavors or colors, and not tested on animals. Take advantage of this introductory offer for Ancient Defense, normally $19.95, now only $14.95. That's 25% off. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139 to secure your Ancient Defense.
You are listening to an Infowars.com frontline report. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
It's already Friday, my friends, the 30th day of January 2015. Big transmission lined up for you today. But first, a breakdown of the growing police state and the move against the Second Amendment.
His name?
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly. I order all those assembled to immediately disperse.
It's a military mission in North St. Louis. Heavily armored vehicles are rolling into town.
And don't be alarmed if you see those over the next 7 days rolling through your neighborhood.
If you see military helicopters flying low over Minneapolis, do not be alarmed.
The guns will be taken. No one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in.
Just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
Enough. 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 The Department of Homeland Security is apparently on a huge ammo buying spree.
It comes out to like 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition.
And as KSLA News 12 Jeff Farrell discovered, the clergy would help the government with potentially their biggest problem, us.
So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
If you got a business, that you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
Mercury-containing vaccines may help, not harm kids, according to 2 new studies in the journal Pediatrics.
Black Hawk choppers soaring through the night sky, but this is only a drill.
Heavily armed officers in Watertown search for the suspect, house to house.
It's a joint military training exercise involving local police, also military. In your apartment!
I am in my apartment, sir.
Go back inside right now!
I am inside. I have 2 words for you. Predator drones. You will never see it coming.
The dramatic scene played out in front of our cameras. Parents grabbing their children and running after spending the night hunkering in their houses and then finding themselves face to face with the muzzle of a SWAT officer's rifle.
They let them in the area. They told them they could come in, and now they're coming in like they're trespassers, punching and shoving people.
We're not turning our guns in, and we're not running, and we're not backing down. If you want them, come and take them.
We are on the march. The Empire is on the run. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
This is the heart of 1776.
This is the heart of the globalist attempted takeover of the entire world by an engineered global depression that they are bringing into place. We're going to be breaking down the birth pangs of the coming Great Depression. The signs of the times are everywhere. All you have to do is open your eyes and look at them. And then Mitt Romney officially comes out and says he won't be running in 2016. Of course, he promised that when he lost a few years ago to Barack Obama. And now he's coming out saying again he won't run. Is it just more hype? I don't know. With a field of Chris Christie's and Jeb Bushes and the media trying to push him over folks like Rand Paul, certainly a sad day indeed. What's sad is that we continue to mainly focus on presidential hopes when the real hope is looking at us in the mirror, voting with our dollars, running for office locally, promoting a culture of liberty, and not complying with unconstitutional government operations and getting in the system's face with peaceful non-compliance, civil disobedience. That's what it's coming down to. Our government is not our government. It has dissolved the border. It is moving to bring in a planetary regime. U.S. passports on the verge of elimination. Soros-funded plan champions North American Union. That's Dr. Corsi at WorldNet Daily, linking directly to the public plans out of the New American Foundation. What do you think that hemisphere ID is they've had for 10 years that citizens of the U.S. can get? Now they're just going to issue them to non-U.S. citizens. It's all been planned. It's all being set up. And then you get to pay for all the welfare and the rest of it for the people that come here. Meanwhile, Dr. Corsi joins us in the second hour to talk about that. Admirals, generals, and the Pentagon tapes indict Hillary, the new tapes that just came out last night. Dr. Corsi is on the forefront, the expert on Benghazi, with all the inside sources. That's really coming to a head right now. He was on with us for 10 minutes last week. Generals conclude Obama backed al-Qaeda and has completely switched sides. He's got more intel on that and more generals going public. So this is a big interview coming up in the second hour. And I'm going to open the phones up and the Twitter questions as well so that we can get your questions in. Now, that said, reading the news late last night when I got home, past midnight, and then going over things this morning, it really hit me how my normalcy bias is getting worse. I live so immersed in all this corruption and all of this technocratic creep, this mission creep, that I myself am becoming conditioned not to accept it, but just to be comfortable with the societal ghost dance that we're all basically involved in. They came out again this week and admitted that the major brands of televisions across the board are watching and listening to you in real time, not just every once in a while, but continually, and selling the data. There's tens of billions of dollars every few months being spent by our own government in the, quote, intelligence gathering, so they're paying these companies to do it. Gee, you should at least, you know, make some money if it's now turned into a cam in your house. But no, they just tell you in the fine print. They announced on Monday, the British government did, that they will be taking control of cars by remote control, and for safety purposes, the chips will, and slowing your car, stopping your car, or making you slow down to, quote, reduce greenhouse gases. So an automatic governor brings new meaning to the Sammy Hagar song, Can't Drive 55. And then today, a BBC article, BBC News, office puts chips under staff's skin. And then they just announced that it's no big deal in Sweden, that if you want a job, you take a chip under your skin. And, of course, I was told by a member of my family that is a non-commissioned officer, pretty much as high level as you can get as a non-commissioned officer. They were called in at a military base in Texas about 8 years ago and told, you are all going to be getting microchips. And he kind of apologized to me at a small family reunion. He didn't really apologize. He kind of just said, man, I got to tell you I was wrong. I thought that was nuts when I read it in your book a few years ago. The military plan to start chipping the troops and the public. They told us get ready for the chip in the next 2 years. A couple years later, I saw him and I said, did you get the chip? And he said, don't ask me about that. And boy, they really listened to your show. I got chewed out. They figured out who it was and came to me and said, keep your mouth shut, even though that wasn't even a classified briefing. They said, now it's classified. So the chips are already going in, boys and girls. TVs that watch and listen to you, chips under the skin to get a job, totally wide open borders. All over the country, they're going to increase the anti-terror funding. NYPD to launch a beefed-up counterterrorism squad. New York looks worse than North Korea. I mean, every other street corner has cops in full commando gear with fully auto standing there grunting at people as if that's going to stop a terrorist. A terrorist would just walk up with a bag in their hand with a bomb in it and blow them up. That's just a target. Even if there was a real terrorist, this is all to condition the public to live under martial law. Troops at checkpoints is about controlling the general public. Always has been, always will be. Checkpoints are what you target as an asymmetrical attacker. And the police know that. If the police are really looking for a suspicious person, they'll be up in an office window or in one of those towers profiling people. But terrorism is so rare, it'd be like trying to profile seeing the Loch Ness Monster going through New York City. There are some terror attacks, and in every case, they're wound up, mentally ill, controlled opposition. And now ISIS has over 10,000 heat-seeking missiles. They've been given billions and billions of dollars, openly, oil fields, and they are preparing to strike the West. And then, of course, our liberties will be taken immediately. I mean, what is even the point of this show? Well, there's some good news. I want to talk about this and what happened yesterday, but at the same time, I was given authorization to talk about it but I don't think I should probably talk about it. I'm going to let this simmer a little bit and think about it. I got some really good news yesterday. Some really good news. When I was up shooting some scenes for a movie I was invited to be part of up in North Texas with the whole Chuck Norris, Mike Norris operation. Pretty interesting stuff.
It's no secret that government and big business buy in bulk and get huge discounts not available to the little guy. Until now. Introducing a breakthrough crowd buying website where people can join together, buy in bulk, and get massive discounts on millions of popular products. It's TogetherSave.com. TogetherSave.com. You can save 20, 30, or even 50% off tablets, smartphones, cars, appliances, textbooks, sports equipment, video games, and much more. All with free delivery. Check it out. TogetherSave.com. Visit now and start group buying today at TogetherSave.com.
What's the best way to keep a secret from somebody? Well, you give them something that they want so bad that they don't care what you're hiding.
The year is 2007, and 20% of the state of California is employed in real estate.
We live in a capitalistic nation of kings and prey upon the greed of the selfish pawns.
Based on a true story.
We created the American dream, where everybody could qualify for one of these loans.
Americans. In select theaters, January 23rd.
Usually, the older one gets, the less you are able to absorb amino acids and the less you are able to repair the 100 trillion cells of your body. As a result, you'll have less energy, your tissues will shrink, and you'll become wrinkled. An older person will typically injure more easily and heal more slowly. Not fun. However, if you can consume a protein powder that is easier to absorb, then you may be able to gain back some strength, muscle, and speed of recovery. One World Whey is a highly digestible whey protein powder that may be the perfect answer for you.
My name is Errol. I'm 74 years old. You know, the taste of One World Whey is amazing. I play pickleball, and since taking One World Whey and your trace mineral supplement, I have more energy and recover faster from my working out. I used to take another grass-fed whey protein powder, but now I'm getting much better results using One World Whey.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldway.com.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Worried about getting sick and feeling terrible for days or even weeks? You need Immudyne for a healthy immune system. Why get sick and bother with products that just don't work? For just $1 a day, Immudyne is all natural and safe for all lifestyles. Call 866-257-8668 to buy now before it's too late, before you get sick. Or go to IMMUDYNE.com, Immudyne.com, or call 866-257-8668.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are broadcasting worldwide. I am your host, Alex Jones. There is so much to get into here today. Office puts chips under staff's skin. I'm going to be getting into that. I mean, this is just bizarre how fast all this is moving, even when I've been aware of it for 23 years or so. On air for 20 years. I just cannot believe how the pace of everything has accelerated and how the government openly turns large swaths of the world over to radical Islam and then sends the army off to fight the very people they just created. And I know they've done things like that before, but it's so naked now. The good news is the military is really awake. A lot of governors are awake. A lot of people in the power structure are not evil, are not bad people, and they don't know what to do. They don't want to see the country collapse. They don't want to see world government brought in. They don't want to see people like David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger and George Soros and Ted Turner and this whole Davos crew running everything because they control the fraudulent derivatives packages. Because the nouveau riche, the new wealth, the entrepreneurs, they understand the old money wants to shut them down and shut everybody else down to have total control, total domination. So I've got all this incredible news to break down and go over today. There is so much. So much to go over. But I really just want to open the phones up for you ahead of Corsi coming on and ask you, does it upset you that they're announcing that most of the new cars that have come out the last 5-6 years, well, all the cars that have come out have a tracking box where you go, what you do, and then now the newer cars have the wireless plug-in to track everywhere you go and what you do and then tax you by the mile and then control your car. And then the government comes out and says, oh, the things of the internet or the Internet of Things, they're going to be able to hack into everything now. They're going to be able to take over. The hackers? What do you mean? The globalists built the system like this, and we're saying 10, 15 years ago, 16, 17 years ago, that they would use it to control everything and micromanage everything and surveil everything and put carbon taxes on everything. It's not like I guessed what their plan was because I was smart. They said what it was, but still, saying they have this diabolical plan is one thing. Doing it is another. Now, at the start of the show, that first little 5 minutes, it's a no man's land that some stations carry, some don't. I aired like 4 minutes of Leanne McAdoo's powerful 8-minute report dealing with AI. I want to air that in full when we come back and then go to your phone calls and just ask folks, is this what's important? Or the North American Union passport, is that important? Or the government preparing for economic collapse, is that important? Or is it Super Bowl alert after measles outbreak? Oh, and they say they may have to start force inoculating even though the people getting the measles have taken the shot. That's important surrounding the Super Bowl, but oh no, the Super Bowl will take over the footballs, the officials will, to make sure that the Pats and the Seahawks don't cheat. I mean, see, there's conspiracies there. And somebody's running around at night in the hotel of the Patriots saying people keep pulling the fire alarm in the Patriots hotel in the middle of the night. See, that's a conspiracy to mess with the Patriots. Someone's pulling the fire alarm so they don't get sleep. Somebody's mad they're cheating, so they're doing that to them. That's a conspiracy. Oh, but government and powerful elites, they never involve themselves in that, even though 2 days ago, to a German newspaper at Davos, Bill Gates came out and called for world government. Corporate-run world government, $100 trillion in taxes to be paid to it, which they'll siphon off. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. How close are we to the open mark of the beast? 800-259-9231. First, Leanne McAdoo's report. I'll be back with your calls.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Year after year, we watched the threats steadily increase. And now, this winter has been the worst on record when it comes to our immune systems and health. For more than 2 years, InfoWarsLife.com has been watching this crisis intensify, and Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex was our answer, using a proprietary process that takes ancient proven herbs and combines them with modern science. This powerful and affordable formula contains more than 14 key herbs and extracts, including echinacea, ginger root, elderberry, golden seal root, a proprietary yin chio formula, and many, many more. I take it, and so does my family. It's made in the USA, gluten-free, alcohol-free, no artificial flavors or colors, and not tested on animals. Take advantage of this introductory offer for Ancient Defense, normally $19.95, now only $14.95. That's 25% off. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139 to secure your Ancient Defense. Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com Oil of Oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 188-253-3139.
We are on the march. The Empire is on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
This is the X109B14 modified transistorized totally automatic assembly machine. Within 6 months, our entire production facilities will be totally automated. Ladies and gentlemen, from now on, Whipple will operate from a brain center with machines such as this one.
It used to be, 300 years ago that machines during the Industrial Revolution replaced blue-collar work, very easy-to-do jobs, and then those people got educated and got better-paying jobs. Today, instead, our machines are replacing not the muscle work, but the brain work, right? And when you lose that kind of job, the only place you can go in the economy is usually downward in pay scale.
We treat our fellow humans as machines when we make them do jobs that a robot could do, that simply require repeated mechanical motion, very little scope for the exercise of judgment, of very little scope for communication with other people, the things that actually make us human.
People love to talk to her. Mm-hmm. In fact, we've done a study where we saw that people disclose more information and feel less judgment, when they think it's a completely automatic system versus having a person.
I'm a third-generation AX400 Android. I can look after your house, do the cooking, mind the kids. I organize your appointments. I speak 300 languages, and I am entirely at your disposal as a sexual partner.
The goal of RoboCup Soccer is that by 2050, they will be playing humans against robots, see who's actually better.
Maybe it can eliminate poverty, help us cure all diseases and so on. But like any powerful technology, it's important to ask, what can we do now to make sure we get these benefits while avoiding pitfalls?
I mean, Google is a search company. They're using AI all over the place. It's Siri on our phones. That's all just AI in the background of there. Yeah. And so we're going to see more and more penetration of these sort of uses that really help our lives and make our lives easier.
Care bots, what I call care bots, that will do the dishes and keep track of grandma and let her have some control, even if she's got dementia, so that she can go on a walk and be steered back so she can decide what she wants for dinner.
And does the AI community concern itself at all with the future of human employment? For instance, I heard Dr. Russell kind of joke about, well, we'll just let the policymakers figure it out. So he's got a lot of faith, but this is something that's going to happen probably by 2045. A lot of the,
way sooner than that.
It's a difficult problem, and I was at a meeting where there were 5 Nobel Prize-winning economists, and all they wanted to talk about was this question. What's the future of employment and the structure of the economy when most of what we call work now is being done by robots? And unfortunately, even though that was what they really cared about, they had no suggestions.
You go to Japan and there's no one taking your order. You go to a vending machine and you order it. And obviously the Japanese economy has dealt with that.
Sapiens Plurum means the wisdom of many. And it is an organization designed to look out for the interests of humankind as technology develops. Because I agree with you that technology is a very powerful force that humans have created, but will humans continue to control it?
The unfortunate thing is that we kind of get used to hell. There are lots of things about our current world that someone 500 years ago would think of as a vision of hell, but we're kind of used to them. And
fighting to keep our... I must work in a cubicle 12 hours a day. How dare you make my life easier with AI?
Most researchers, most of my friends in the AI field used to think that, well, it's not going to happen in my lifetime, so it's a waste of time to think about it now. But we're seeing in 2015 now that a lot of things are happening that people thought were going to take much longer. And a lot of people are saying, well, maybe these things are going to happen actually in our careers, so now would be a great time to really start looking into them.
Could a weapons system blow up the world? Yeah, it could do it because the computer decides that's the right thing to do, but as far as I can tell, we are way more likely to have that happen when someone sits on something, like the red button.
Personally speaking, I think that the risk that we have from AI is not really of AI becoming autonomous and taking over the world. There's a much bigger risk that a person will use AI for bad purposes.
Privacy is a big thing, and thinking about what goals you give a program and what are the consequences of the goals, trying to get students to think into the future and to think more broadly than their individual program or robot, but what effect will that have on the people around, on the broader society?
If that objective is not perfectly aligned with the values of us humans, then that creates the possibility for bad things to happen, for that in some sense is the definition of conflict, and getting into a conflict with systems that are more capable than we are doesn't sound like a good idea.
And with any technology, when we invented fire, we realized after a while it was also a good idea to invent the fire department and fire alarms and fire extinguishers. The more powerful the technology is, the more urgent it is to actually also far ahead start thinking about how to get the best out of it.
If you have autonomous weapons, you're going to have an arms race of autonomous weapons, because once you have autonomous attack weapons, then you need autonomous defense weapons, because, you know, human reaction times are going to be too slow.
Once you build little drones with a lot of AI capability, it's very easy to make them. You just need a computer and some stuff you can buy on eBay and so on, and it'll be very difficult to keep them only in the right hands.
You know, for example, clouds of miniaturized flying robots against which it's impossible to defend. And you could imagine getting to a situation where, you know, the life expectancy of a human soldier would be 10 seconds on the battlefield, and life expectancy of a civilian, if a government used those weapons against its own population, would be, you know, 2 seconds.
And the key question is, will there be other new conflicts when these drones fall into the hands of ISIS and Boko Haram and so on? You know, the Kalashnikov is a good example of a piece of technology that everybody has now, right? Even the guys in Paris did this horrible massacre against Charlie Hebdo. If weaponized drones become the new Kalashnikovs and everybody has them, I think that's really a net loss for humanity. I think we're going to see way more violence.
So we have to be very careful, I think, to distinguish between fears about autonomous AI suddenly rising up, overcoming its programming, which is an unlikely scenario, and people deciding to use AI for purposes that are either unethical or basically do not value human life in the way that we should.
And you could wipe out every inhabitant of a city in a few minutes for a few $1 million. This is just not a direction that I think we should go.
Because I don't think robots are going to decide to destroy the world. I just want to make sure that my students don't program them to destroy the world by accident.
Powerful report up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com from Leanne McAdoo. Again, I am your host, Alex Jones. And yesterday I was out because I agreed a while back ago. I'm not really ready to talk about the production. They told me I could if I wanted to, but it's a fun, pretty good budget movie with some pretty big actors in it that deals with basically traitors in the government and the NDAA and an attempt by the UN through government to take over the United States. It's like I'd almost say it's like America with a K with Chris Christopherson, but boiled down to a movie. And it's being directed by Chuck Norris's son, Mike Norris, who's a great patriot and big listener. And, of course, he's produced a lot of big TV shows and movies in his own right. Very interesting guy. It was amazing talking to him because, I mean, I knew that it was Steve McQueen got Chuck Norris into acting, and I knew that because I'd read the IMDb that he'd been involved a lot with the family, but he was saying, yeah, I taught him how to ride a motorcycle, everything else. He's going to come in here sometimes. He's just so interesting and tell some amazing stories. He said that no one's ever heard or had really been told. It was pretty wild stuff. A lot of fun. And that was just when we talked in the morning at breakfast, and then like 3 or 4 o'clock we had a late lunch, and they kept shooting until about 8:30 at night. And then I drove back from a town, really cool courthouse they were shooting these Senate hearing scenes in out in Meridian was the town. But I was talking to one of the producers who's a well-known guy. I've read about him in the Wall Street Journal and other places, really interesting. And he said I could talk about the stuff he was telling me, but, you know, and some of the stuff that, some of the other things. But, you know what, I'm just going to get Gary Haven in studio soon to relay these stories to you himself because it dovetails with some other intel that I've similarly gotten, and it's pretty exciting news. Here's an article. CPAC celebrates free market entrepreneurship with CEO whose company was built. And, you know, the media trying to demonize him. But there's a lot of good news out there, but there's also obviously a lot of bad news. As I always say, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Mitt Romney's not running. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, that may just be another stunt. I mean, what does it matter? He's just another one of these milquetoast guys who even helped write what is now Obamacare and who thinks global warming is real. man-made global warming. I mean, he doesn't think that's real. That's what the big money backers want. Now, is he as bad as a Jeb Bush or a Hillary Clinton? No. Would I rather see Mitt Romney as president than Hillary Clinton? Yeah. But it doesn't matter. You know you'll get the same agenda. In fact, it might even be worse getting a Mitt Romney because he wouldn't be as bad. People go back to sleep. Then they keep finishing their program of taking over. Why does anyone want to live in a world where we're microchipped? And they announced at Davos what the scientists we talked to were saying here in Austin a few days ago about the government will send out micro drones to forcibly take your DNA, micro mosquitoes. It's just amazing. They're going to send out these micro mosquitoes and forcibly take our DNA. They're announcing world government. There it is. Harvard professor, government mosquito drones will extract your DNA. Privacy is dead. And I'm glad that they pull these articles up because I feel crazy when I'm saying this. In fact, I want to go to your calls, some calls, and then I've got so much breaking and so much going on. I will be in studio Sunday live and then right through next week. But there is just so much going on right now that I'm going to have David Knight, who does a fabulous job, interview Corsi and then go into the third hour. Because I kind of got angry about all this morning, and I mean, didn't yell or scream, but got really upset. Plus, I got home. I'm not even tired, but I got home about 12:30 last night. And I feel like I'm on the verge of a breakthrough on figuring out how to develop a plan to simply communicate the globalist program so people know that it's the source of most of our problems and to try to mobilize humanity. And then it gets very frustrating to just get up here on air and cover another piece of this or another piece of that when it's all just the leavings of this larger system. Mind-blowing. Redstone's absence fuels talk of the end of a reign is near. That's interesting. You don't really see David Rockefeller out anymore. And these are really the old guard of evil. And Sumner Redstone, who since the 30s has been running the theater chain his father started. This guy one time for 2 hours hung out a balcony window while it was on fire, while his arms burned. Really tough old bird. He's, how old is he? 91 years old? He's been in poor health and disappeared. I've talked to folks that know Redstone. They say he is a maniac. Maniac. Oh, my God, what a world. And it just shows all the money on the planet is never going to save these people. And, you know, they may have computers that come out where they claim that hold your soul, your mind, or your memories. It's not going to be the soul. It's not going to be really you. Everybody knows that. It's all just more frauds from the New World Order. Dr. Corsi's coming up, U.S. passports on the verge of elimination, and what's behind the latest breaking documents on Hillary. We'll cover that first. Bob in Michigan, you're on the air. Go ahead. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Alex. I used to work back in a Ford factory in 2004, and I just wanted to verify that while working on an assembly line building Ford Focus instrument panels, I installed black GPS boxes behind the airbags in all of them, even if they didn't even have the option for like an upgraded radio. We still put a GPS box in it.
And they pass that cost on to you. Yeah, that's globally standardized. They agreed to that about 10 years ago. And what is it, about 6 years, pretty much all cars made in this Western Alliance, the Anglo-American system, are adding those.
Yeah, I just wanted to, for people who didn't believe you that they were in cars, I mean, we were installing them back 10 years ago.
It's very, very, very frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very frustrating.
So you say you were installing them 10 years ago yourself?
Yeah, in 2004. It was one of the jobs we had on our line, and they had them on every line. You know, on every line in the plant for some of the different types of cars that they were building.
What do you make of the announcement that now they're putting boxes in that remote control the car, and the British government had the nerve to announce they're going to remote control your car for the Earth?
That's disgusting. I mean, that's all you can really say about it. Is just more government control.
Well, there are people that just crave control, and they think it's their right to hurt whoever they want. They think it's their right to persecute whoever they want. They think it's their right to be mean to whoever they want. It's truly sickening.
Yeah, well, humanity is on the up, and we're going to free ourselves from the shackles of these globalist pigs, man.
Absolutely. Well, God bless you, brother. I really appreciate you calling in. Anything else you can add for folks about? I mean, it's on record they had these boxes. I said 10 years ago, I'm going from memory. When I said that, I thought it was wrong because time just flies. I want to say it was about 2002. I saw the news articles in the trade publications about it and the agreements all over the world to put them in. So I guess that was actually about 12 years ago. And then I knew that in the last 5-6 years, pretty much everybody was putting them in. But again, that's what the news always says. It's kind of like they announce, police just got systems to look through your walls, and they show the 20-year-old system I've been covering since the late 90s. And then they've got stuff, 3 generations worse. So there's a headline, black boxes for cars raise privacy concerns, and that was back in last year. So, yeah, interesting. God bless you. I know. And then now, and David Knight will play this clip coming up. Office puts chips under staff's skin, BBC. I mean, and people say, oh, well, big deal. The globalists are nefarious is the issue. They've got a bad plan in store. They're using it for evil. They've got remote control panels in them that interface. You can remote control your vehicle. It was on record that both the aircraft hijacked on 9/11 had remote control boxes on board. George Bush was on PBS, and we've read the transcript. We can't find the video. But he said, no, we have remote control. We'll be able to save aircraft in the future. And someone behind him grabbed his arm and jerked it down. They were shaking their head like, don't say that. Everybody made fun of me saying it was remote controlled. I mean, the only real phone calls, not the fake cell phone calls from 35,000, 33,000 feet, that doesn't happen, were the air phones. And it was the flight attendants saying, there's smoke, there's gas, we can't breathe. Then it would cut out and the planes would fly with precision that the average pilot, top pilot, couldn't do. The Hani Hanjour, we've had top. I mean, we had a whole bunch of top pilots, commercial pilots, fighter pilots, you name it. They couldn't do the maneuver Hani Hanjour did that they have off of the radar track that the FAA released. Impossible for a guided missile of that size. You understand? So I don't know what went on. What we're being told is a load of prunes, to quote Dan Rather. And now we're building a whole world where our TVs, our computers, our appliances, and we pay for all this tech. Oh, I can remote control the refrigerator, honey, when we're in Acapulco. When we're in New York City. Yeah, and the whole system can get in there too. It's just crazy. And they can plant whatever they want on your computer. Let's go ahead and go to David in New Jersey. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, Alex. Just to let you know that the New Jersey Assembly passed 58-11 in favor of legislation passing the registration requirements for private outdoor surveillance cameras. And I got one more thing I want to add after you reply to that one.
Sure. I mean, that's a move all over the world to ban citizens using cameras to protect ourselves and to make it the proprietary thing of the state. I mean, New Jersey, government is just so evil. Go ahead.
No, they're insane. These people are just standing around and getting fleeced day by day. Real quick, the bill is Alpha 3843. I'm not sure if our wonderful Governor Christie, how wonderful he is actually going to sign this one. I would hope not, but that's something that would favor very, I think, negatively on a national campaign trail. So maybe he'll just write this one off. Second of all, people don't realize that I've been in the automotive industry for a long time. You're on the topic of motor vehicles. I'm the electronics end of it. We're all pretty much willingly carrying around keys that are fully embedded with transponders. Your ignition key actually is a transponder device. It enables the vehicle to recognize the key itself. And if you ever go past a strong enough inductor, you can actually excite that key to release the encryption codes. And ironically, that's another form of tracking, and we're willingly carrying that.
Well, they've been reporting for about a decade that since these keys came out 20 years ago, thieves come up when you're in a store and just scan it, as you just said, grab the code. Now they can go get in your car and start it. This was all designed for government control. And I remember I used to criticize going to these chip keys. I said, look, they're convenient, they're easy, you don't want them. And people are like, oh, shut up, you kook. And then now here we are in this trap. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, well, Canada, it's mandated, I believe Germany and Australia, that all motor vehicles produced after 2008 have to have the embedded key, transponder key. United States has not so far, but...
Wow, you know your stuff, brother. You're an expert. We get that guy's number. You got to come on as a guest. We got to get some engineers on. Stay with us.
Visit GCNlive.com today.
What disaster is so powerful, it unleashes a chain of mass pandemics, economic meltdowns, and violent food riots, all at the same time? NASA has already set the countdown timer, and right now the 21st century apocalypse is less than 13 months away. Former CIA Director James Woolsey says 2/3 of U.S. population could perish. In a matter of seconds, the world as we know it will cease to exist. The world's economy will be wiped out. Mass riots will follow. Ancient diseases will reemerge. How will you shield yourself and your loved ones from this upcoming apocalypse? Go to darkestdays.info to find out proven methods of protecting yourself, your loved ones, and even your entire community when this worst-case scenario unravels. That's darkestdays.info. darkestdays.info. Go there before this life-saving information becomes unavailable to the large public. Go to darkestdays.info now.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Dr. Jerome Corsi's coming up. I'll be back this Sunday live, 4 to 6 p.m. Central. David Knight's going to come in because I was already going to have to go to a meeting the last hour. Been missing a little bit of radio here and there, getting a bunch of stuff set up. Very exciting things happening right now. Right now, we're taking your phone calls. Let's go to Mike in Oregon on Google cars and robot takeover. It's all been planned. It's all public. What do we do about it? Mike, thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, everyone needs to be real aware that these Xboxes, these smart cars, smart meters, smart everything, that seems really cool in the commercial with all the happy actors thinking everything is, they push this stuff on us so hard that they're getting the culture to believe that it's this new trendy thing to have everything smart for you. You're too dumb to do anything, so they got to do it for you. And basically, it's like almost like the Terminator coming true. And unfortunately for us, it's not far off, probably maybe 20 years, and we'll have humanoids walking amongst us. But on later note, I was wondering if I could call all media to update us on the James Home trial, because they've been keeping that in the dark, and, well, we need to resurrect that.
Absolutely. They're keeping a lot of these patsy trials dark. It doesn't mean we know exactly what happened, but the stories don't add up. In the case of the Zarna brothers, they killed the one brother in front of all the witnesses, put out all these untrue stories, killed a cop who they later admitted that they didn't kill, then tried to kill the other brother. He's pled not guilty. The older brother did have a CIA-sponsored fake name. The Russians blew his cover 2 years before. They were party animal playboys that whose uncle worked for the government for intelligence operations, who thought that they were really cool, and they got set up as patsies. Or they were double agents and double-crossed, which is way, way, way harder to believe. and much more complex, and they don't fit the MO of that. They were just basically infiltrating Chechen groups that have been attacking the Russians. And the Russians, again, blew their cover. So it's just an example. You bring up another trial of another one of these people. We just don't know the truth. Thank you so much. I mean, we know there was a drill that day at the Boston bombing, of a bombing happening right there at the finish line. And that's so if the people carrying it out get caught by other police and others that aren't involved, they say, oh, it's part of a drill. Just like in Russia, the FSB got caught in '99 planting bombs in a 4th building, and they told the Moscow, or it was a suburb, they told the suburb police it's part of a drill, and they were ordered released. That's why you do that. Let's talk to Kyle. You're on the air from FEMA Region 1 on automated cars. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, first-time caller, long-time listener. Just wanted to say that all this technology, AI, and the automated cars is just disgusting. But just as disgusting are the people that support it, push it. They're constantly giving up privacy and freedom for convenience and the illusion of safety.
Oh, trendies always just say, oh, and soon robots will be safer so you won't be able to drive. It's just the way it is. Hee hee, hee hee. Well, they don't understand it is a predatory takeover.
Exactly. And I hear it every day. FEMA Region 1 is full of the trendies. It's very difficult to wake them up, so always looking for new ways to wake them up. A while ago on one of your previous shows, and maybe a few years at this point, you had mentioned the idea of a game show, a Jeopardy show, something like that to wake people up. And I just want to remind you of that. I thought that was an awesome idea.
I got a lot of ideas I'd love to implement. Unfortunately, it's hard to get a lot of that stuff done, but God bless you, brother. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you so much. We're going to go to break, and then we are going to have Dr. Corsi on with Key Intel, and David Knight's been researching this deeply, so he's going to interview him, and then we're going to get back into the robot takeover and the push for forced inoculations with this whole measles hype. Scott in California, the Watcher, Dan, Wayne, we're going to get to all of you as well. David Knight coming up. And David Knight, on average, ends up hosting about 1 out of 10 programs. So I actually do more radio than most talk show hosts. But the last few months, I've taken a few days off here and there to get a lot of key business done.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds. Is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. In the near future.
When you realize how fake it all is, the football, the basketball.
Alert. Security alert. This is Homeland Security. Analysis. InfoWars building independent media operation.
We let the worst people get control and tell us that we are the ones responsible.
Prime directive. Discredit Alex Jones.
Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
A popular conspiracy theory talk show called InfoWars.
Alex Jones is now in an Austin jail.
These people are assaulting us.
Targeting of patriots engaged.
They are never going to stop. They're never going to deviate from their program until we stop them.
Block free iPhone app at Infowars.com. Block free podcast and video feed. Imperative. Destroy Prison Planet TV.
You gotta set your eye on the enemy, not worry about what propaganda they put out. Intellectually, it's begun and you can feel it.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. Joining us at this time is Dr. Jerome Corsi. Of course, he's a senior staff writer for WND, formerly known as WorldNet Daily. I think they go just by WND now, but he's also an investigative reporter, and he's got a couple of articles that we want to talk about. One of these is about smoking gun documents out of Benghazi, related to Benghazi. And also, I want to talk to him about his article exposing that a Soros-funded organization is talking about getting a North American passport. You don't need your American passport anymore, not a United States passport, because remember what David Petraeus said? He said, what comes after America? It's North America. And so we've been seeing these oblique references out in the open lately from Petraeus, from Pelosi, from many people. And of course, this organization went public with an op-ed piece. I think they put it on, it was on CNN a couple of days ago. And so Dr. Corsi breaks down who is behind this organization called New America. But first, I want to talk to him about Judicial Watch's Freedom of Information request that got some Benghazi documents and what's behind that. Welcome, Dr. Corsi.
Good to be with you, David. Thank you very much.
Both of these articles are very interesting. I want to go to the Benghazi article first. Kind of lay it out for us what Judicial Watch got that's a smoking gun.
Well, Judicial Watch has been getting a whole series of articles and FOIA requests from the Obama administration that even Congress does not seem able to get. Now, these documents that I'm reporting on involve the Diplomatic Security Command Center, the DSCC, which is part of the State Department. It's an office in the State Department, and it's responsible for really getting communications coming in from the various embassies if there's any security problems. Now, among the documents that Judicial Watch got, there was this one document right after September 12th, right after this attack, September 11th, 2012, the State Department sent out an emergency message to the U.S. citizens about demonstrations. This came from our embassy in Tunisia. And again, they were blaming the day after the Benghazi attack on this video. Yeah. The message reads, on September 11th, 2012, violent demonstrations took place at the U.S. Embassy in Cairo, Egypt, and the U.S. compound in Benghazi, Libya, resulting in damage in both locations and casualties in Benghazi. And again, they're reporting that media reports say that demonstrations may take place at the embassy in Tunis. The State Department is blaming it on the video the day after the attack. But the problem is that we have testimony now in Congress from the DSCC, and specifically, this was testimony that occurred by Charlene Lamb, who was the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, the House Oversight Committee, in October 10th, 2012. And she says and proves that the same group within the State Department, the State Department Diplomatic Security Command Center, knew the Benghazi compound was under hostile fire, a terrorist attack, from the moment the attack started, and was getting real-time reports, including video and other communications. They had a drone over the Benghazi attack while the attack was going on. And so what's clear is that the State Department, the same office, was lying to the public in Tunisia and around the world not letting people know that this was a terrorist attack. And basically, it's irresponsible. It's a dereliction of duty is what Judicial Watch says, because it puts Americans around the world in danger when, you've got Al-Qaeda terrorists attacking the embassy or the compound. It was really not an embassy, but the compound in Benghazi. And here the State Department desk that knew about this is telling our embassies in places like Tunisia that be on the watch because there could be protests about a movie. That just doesn't reconcile.
Go ahead, get your phone. That's fine.
Hold on a second.
As I look at this, I would guess that the smoking gun is really, wouldn't you say that it's more the fact that they really knew that there was an attack going on, and not only did they lie about the origins of the attack after the fact, but the fact that they knew that it was going on and essentially stood down. Is that correct?
Well, and there's several things. That's another issue. The specific smoking gun that I found was that you've got Hillary Clinton's State Department, which has now got, through this desk, real-time information. It's a terrorist attack. And instead of letting our embassies around the world know that immediately, they're lying and saying, oh, no, it's all because of a movie. So it puts Hillary Clinton at the center of the cover-up that was beginning the day after, maybe even the day of the attack. And this documentary evidence, is going to be very hard for Hillary to wiggle out of, because she's head of the State Department, and that you've got the desk watching the attack going on real time, putting out bulletins to our embassies the next day in Tunisia saying, watch out for another demonstration against the movie. This was not a demonstration.
Oh, that movie was absolutely ridiculous. First of all, nobody had ever heard of it. If you ever see any clips of it on YouTube, you won't. Muslims would have to have absolutely no sense of humor not to even laugh at something that was that poorly produced, that crude, that ridiculous. It is, and maybe they don't, some of these organizations, but that wasn't even known by them. That wasn't something that they were upset about. It was a ludicrous narrative from the very beginning.
And the key point is that if you take a look at the Benghazi attack, you've got the State Department watching it. Remember, we had drones. We had a drone over Benghazi while the attack was going on. We were able to see what was happening in Washington. And you had attackers showing up with rocket-propelled grenades and AK-47s. And these were, very heavily armed terrorists.
Well, let me ask you this, Dr. Corsi, because we've had people like Dr. Pachinik on and others who have flat out said that they believe that this was internecine fighting between different factions within our government, different factions within the CIA, some of them who wanted to arm Al-Qaeda and ISIS, others who wanted to see that stopped, depending on which side these guys are on. Do you think that there was something like that going on with this?
Well, I've been reporting on the Citizens Committee on Benghazi, which is a group of, really top former military commanders and intelligence officers and media experts. And, you've got people like Admiral Lyons on the group, General Vallely on the group. These are very distinguished military commanders with long careers. And the basic scenario that I reported on again, WND, that Admiral Lyons believes is that this was a attempt to capture. It was a kidnapping gone terribly wrong to get, because we had already supported Al-Qaeda. We were, through Hillary Clinton, the State Department, even before Gaddafi was toppled in 2011, we'd been getting guns in through Benghazi from Turkey and distributing them to these same Al-Qaeda affiliated militias like the Ansar al-Sharia, who was doing the attack on the Benghazi compound. Now, you've got to ask, why would Ansar al-Sharia suddenly attack the compound when, Chris Stevens is one of their best friends? He's getting them weapons. Well, I think the argument is that the Obama administration, going back to when Morsi first took office in 2011 in Egypt, had been pressuring Obama to release the blind sheik, who is the guy we have in prison that was trying to mastermind the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center. He was prosecuted and is now in a lifetime sentence in a U.S. prison. And Morsi in Egypt, Muslim Brotherhood, won him back, and Obama was trying to release him. all the efforts were failing, and there was no consensus in America that we ought to release a terrorist of this magnitude. So Obama was being opposed in his efforts, and they were all published in the newspaper at the time. Very, very widely known that Obama was trying to release the blind sheik. Then this attack occurs, and of course, the idea of trying to get a kidnapping, you've got to ask, why did we not accede to the request being made by Christopher Stevens to give him greater security? Why was U.S. forces all across the world told not to mobilize and go to the aid in Benghazi when we had forces in the region? It sounds like we were leaving Chris Stevens in this compound, this diplomatic.
Sounded like they wanted to get rid of him, didn't it?
Well, or that they were making him vulnerable. He was being put out there as a attractive target that could be snatched. And if you read the 13 Hours, and one of the things I think in the account from the Global Resources guys who went from the annex, disobeyed orders, got in 2 vehicles and went over to the diplomatic compound, was that, they say that this was a attack that had gone wrong. It was basically set up. They wondered if it was a kidnapping when they entered. My phone has been like this. It's been,
That's all right. That's all right. So your take on it is not so much then necessarily that it was an internecine fighting between these two different groups, one who wants to arm the terrorists, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, which we know a lot of arms were flowing out of that area to Al-Qaeda prior to the attack and certainly afterwards. But that they were that they wanted the ambassador to get kidnapped so they could have an excuse to do a prisoner trade with the blind sheik. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the evidence is pointing in that direction. It's going to have to be investigated. We don't have the documents yet to prove it. But when you say it's a circumstantial case, but when you try to explain, why would Al-Qaeda groups that we had been supporting, remember, Obama changed sides in Libya. Obama made a decision and he issued a presidential finding, he signed it, that we were going to arm Al-Qaeda when we were supposedly at war with Al-Qaeda. They turned down, and this again, the CCB, the Citizens Commission of Benghazi, had reported on, they had turned down an offer to abdicate. You had Gaddafi saying, I'll leave. I don't need to be.
Hang on, Dr. Corsi, we got to go to commercial break. And I also, once we come back, we're going to talk about the North American Union. That's another massive plot. Of course, what was going on in Benghazi? They're perfectly capable of anything. They will lie, cover up, and conspire. We're going to be right back with Dr. Jerome Corsi. Stay with us.
Millions of people are going to get sick this winter from colds, flus, and other illnesses. Make sure you're not one of them. Protect yourself with Supernatural Silver, a revolutionary new product. Recent advances in silver technology have resulted in a silver solution that can be used daily to help prevent bacteria, viruses, and fungus. Supernatural Silver is safe enough to use daily, while powerful enough to help your own immune system destroy the causes of many serious diseases. Supernatural Silver has the ability to terminate entire colonies of harmful bacteria at several hundred times the effectiveness of colloidal or ionic silver. The Science Digest Journal says silver is our mightiest germ fighter. It is virtually non-toxic and is emerging as a wonder of modern medicine. Go to supernaturalsilver.com today and use the promo code SILVER2015 for 30% off. Give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
Interested in free Bitcoins? Stay tuned for more information. Are you worried about Big Brother watching your bank account? Frustrated with annoying fees? Concerned about unauthorized access to your account? What if there was a way to be your own bank? Bitcoin gives you a way to take back control of your money. The citizens of 2 large countries have already turned to Bitcoin when their economies collapsed. Unlike US dollars, there is a limited number of Bitcoins. The government cannot simply decide to print more. 8 million people are already using Bitcoin anonymously, with 90,000 retailers accepting them. Investors have put $4 billion into Bitcoin, with millions more being invested daily. BitRush.com is based in Texas and provides the most profitable way to own Bitcoins. To receive your own free Bitcoins, you can visit us at www.bitrush.com. That's BITRUSH.com. Or call us at 1-800-200-8202. Again, that's bitrush.com or 1-800-200-8202 for free Bitcoins.
It's very easy to be a criminal. All you need to burglarize a home is one simple household tool, a pair of scissors. If your home security system can be compromised by a criminal using scissors, then you're making it easy for them. Almost every home security system, even those sold by big-name companies, has a weakness: the phone line. You shell out $1,500, get locked into a long-term contract, and think you're safe. But a burglar can destroy your alarm in seconds with one snip. And when a burglar cuts your phone line, you're defenseless. Simply Safe Home Security is the smarter choice. Built by Harvard engineers, Simply Safe uses a wireless connection to call the cops. Scissors can't cut it. And that means your home stays safe. 24/7 professional monitoring is under $15 a month with no contract. Simply Safe Home Security keeps you safer than the other guys for half the cost. Protect your home with the alarm you can trust. Simply Safe. Go to simplysafedefense.com now for an exclusive 10% offer. That's simplysafedefense.com.
What good is a Big Berkey water filter?
We get that question a lot here at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And in a word, the answer is protection. Protection from water main breaks, E. coli contamination, environmental chemical spills, pesticide runoff, chlorine taste and smell, and all forms of fluoride. Plus, Big Berkey water filters are the original gravity water filter system and most trusted on the market for a reason. Tested by multiple independent NSF EPA certified labs, they are the gold standard in water purification. At only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. That means big savings. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get a Big Berkey today at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit our website or call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, and we have on the phone with us Dr. Jerome Corsi from WND.com. We were just talking in the last segment about a article that's up there, a smoking gun document from about Benghazi that was obtained by Judicial Watch, and Dr. Corsi was breaking that down. We talked a little bit about what he thinks might have been behind the Benghazi incident. But Dr. Corsi, let's move on to this other article that you've got, which really concerns me. Actually, this concerns me even more so because I know that the government elites are constantly engaged in their Machiavellian fighting within each other and running terrorist groups that they're then protecting us from. But another aspect of all this, of course, is the consolidation into trading blocks that we've seen happen with the North American Union. And now they're at the next step, trying to consolidate the North American Union with Europe and with Asian countries, just with the Trans-Pacific Partnership. That's about 40% of the world's economy right there that they're trying to pull in and control, because it's not really about free trade. You don't create a secret document about free trade and not let anybody see it, a multi-thousand page document that you ram through under fast track. No, this is not about exports unless you're talking about exporting jobs and exporting sovereignty. But we can see how this is playing out with the North American Union as they're working on the very next level of consolidation. And we see how poorly this has worked out for Americans with the North American Union. They're now talking about getting rid of U.S. passports and substituting North American Union passports. Talk about this organization that's put this piece out on CNN, why we need a North American passport.
Well, the group is the New America Foundation. It's a Washington-based think tank. It's Jonathan Soros, the son of, the billionaire George Soros, is on the board. It's a Soros-backed organization. It has money even from the State Department. It's a heavily financed organization. And they printed an article in their publications that was picked up by CNN that says that we should make the U.S. passport obsolete because the shared destinies of the three countries, Mexico, Canada, and the United States, would be to create a North American passport. And I'll quote, that would allow citizens to travel, work, invest, learn, and innovate anywhere in North America. tourist and student visas, not necessary. So, I mean, this is advancing the agenda that I've criticized. Now, the late Robert Pastor passed away last year from American University, had been championing a North American Union, and it's a bipartisan effort. I mean, George W. Bush had the Security and Prosperity Partnership in North America since 2005, and not declared by Congress, no treaty, no law. And I put in the article now, Barack Obama, when he announced the relationships with Cuba, and he's saying from the White House in Spanish, todos somos americanos, we're all Americans. And
yes. Yes. We had Nancy Pelosi say we have one community of people that just happens to have a border running through it. If you want to understand what's going on with the open borders, if you want to understand why neither the Democrats nor the Republicans will do anything about this, the answer is NAFTA.
And it's the globalist agenda, which is an agenda for the central bankers around the world. It's an agenda for the multinational corporations. It pushes labor to slave labor. It's why we see the deterioration in America of the middle class. How well are we doing since NAFTA? And it's about George H.W. Bush, it's Bill Clinton, it's George W. Bush, and now it's Barack Obama. And I think you're going to see remarkably that the GOP in Congress will support President Obama on fast-track authority to get this very secretive Trans-Pacific Partnership through, and the Democrats will oppose Obama.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we've already heard, and I mentioned it yesterday, I was very disappointed to hear Rand Paul right after the election start talking about how we needed to do this because we need to do a boost to our economy. Listen, the only thing, as I said before, that we're going to be exporting are jobs and sovereignty. It's about exporting our sovereignty. That's the same thing that we see with Agenda 21. We talked to Rosa Corey yesterday. Listen to the very first sentence on this op-ed piece that New America organization put on CNN. The future of the United States lies in North America. They're not talking about it being geographic. They said this is not a geographic truism. It is a strategic imperative. So it's essential for them to now consolidate the North American Union because they're going to the next step. They're taking, they want to consolidate us with Europe as well as with Asia with these secretly negotiated trade agreements. They call them trade agreements. It's far beyond that. That's what's really concerning me, Dr. Corsi.
Well, and also it's the same stealth plan that was used in Europe. Right? Go back to the European coal and steel agreement that was signed as a treaty in Paris in 1951, and Jean Monnet and the other architects of the European Union swore right after World War II that this was only economic agreements.
Oh yeah, that's right. Only economics. It is far beyond that. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Jerome Corsi. Stay with us right after the break. We're going to take your calls on these subjects. 800-259-9231. Thank you, Dr. Corsi.
Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Year after year, we watch the threats steadily increase. And now, this winter has been the worst on record when it comes to our immune systems and health. For more than 2 years, InfoWarsLife.com has been watching this crisis intensify, and Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex was our answer, using a proprietary process that takes ancient proven herbs and combines them with modern science. This powerful and affordable formula contains more than 14 key herbs and extracts, including echinacea, ginger root, elderberry, golden seal root, a proprietary yin chio formula, and many, many more. I take it, and so does my family. It's made in the USA, gluten-free, alcohol-free, no artificial flavors or colors, and not tested on animals. Take advantage of this introductory offer for Ancient Defense, normally $19.95, now only $14.95. That's 25% off. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139 to secure your Ancient Defense.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with Super Male or Super Female Vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, and we're going to go to your calls in just a moment. We're going to talk a little bit more about this North American passport that they're proposing on CNN. Of course, we have an article up today on Infowars.com saying that after saying that the North American Union and the loss of sovereignty was a conspiracy theory for decades, CNN is now running articles saying, hey, let's get rid of the U.S. passports. Let's have a North American Union passport. Because, after all, we're all just one people, as Nancy Pelosi said, with a border that just happens to be running through it. It's no more important than the border that runs between Texas and Oklahoma, for example. So let's just make it all happen right now, and we see that they're rolling this out. They've been talking about it obliquely. I believe this is being consolidated and coming out in the open now because the next step is being created in secret. And of course, those are these transatlantic and trans-Pacific quote-unquote trade agreements. Yeah, they're trading a lot more than economics. They're trading our sovereignty, and they're trading our jobs, and it's going to be a race to the bottom. Before we go to your calls, I just want to remind you that we have the 2015 InfoWars calendar. If you put this in your office, this is going to be a great way to start conversations with people, and it's a way for you to get discounts each month. We have a code on the calendar that has coupons for that particular month that'll get you discounts at the InfoWars store. That's available at InfoWarsStore.com. Also, we have a new supplement, InfoWars Life Oil of Oregano. And if you've been looking at supplements for a while, you understand how powerful oregano oil is, but it is also very powerful if you put the liquid in your mouth. It burns quite a bit. So this is a way to get it in a capsule form that's a little bit easier to ingest and still have some of the the same effect with it. It's a great way to support your body's natural immunity, and that's available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, I want to go back, as I said, to this North American passport idea, how they're rolling this out, and just remind you that it wasn't that long ago. It was just last year that we heard David Petraeus, who, of course, was the former head of the CIA, say this about the North American Union.
After America comes North America. Are we on the threshold of the North American decades? Question mark. I threw away the question mark, and boldly proclaimed the coming North American decades as the title now. It's founded on recognition that if you put these three economies together, as has been the case 20 years into the North American Free Trade Act implementation, you find unique countries in terms of demographics.
That's good, yeah. So here we are, we're 20 years into the North American Union, so let's talk about what we did to you 20 years ago. See, that's the way the Trans-Pacific Partnership is going to roll out. They're not talking about that now, and if they focus you on the North American Union, maybe you won't even pay attention to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the transatlantic partnerships that they're putting through. Are you going to be fooled again? As Ross Perot talking about that giant sucking sound, we've experienced that giant sucking sound. And right there, if you're watching this feed, that's the article that they put up on CNN, why we need a North American passport. And as I pointed out in the last segment, they said the future of the U.S. is in North America. They say, we're not talking about that geographically. That's not a geographic truism. That is a strategic imperative. Understand that they have a plan. They are executing this plan. They're doing it in secret without you knowing what's going on, without even congressmen who might be involved with it or elected representatives of other nations that are involved not knowing anything about what's going in it. We do know from some details that have been leaked thanks to WikiLeaks and some hackers getting these details, putting them out. We know that it's going to have broad implications, but we've already seen some of these things in terms of elevating corporations to the same level as states in a kind of arbitration scheme, where if they believe that their multinational profits have been harmed by your regulations, they can basically take you to an arbitration process, your country, and they can make your taxpayers pay them a fine to make up for their lost profits. And of course, this is going to be a way for them to strike down the prohibitions that people in other countries have enacted against genetically modified organisms, plants. They've experienced this. They've had the courage in some countries to shut down Monsanto and other genetically modified things that are a plague in our country. They own our government. We can't get anything to stop GMO, to even have a label as to what we have in our products here in America because they so thoroughly own the government. But other governments have shut it down. So what are they going to do? They're going to go to a supranational organization where they can then force GMO products on these other countries. Everyone needs to be fighting this, not just in America, but in other countries as well, and understand that this is not an economic situation. You don't need to have a several thousand-page trade agreement negotiated in secret with corporate lobbyists in order to have free trade. We've had free trade in this country before. It didn't require that. This is corporate governance at a global scale, merging these different regions together. And we can see how this is working out. Here's some more from this op-ed piece. They say, in recognition of our shared destiny, the three countries, that'd be Mexico, Canada, and the United States, should create a North American passport that would, over time, allow their citizens to travel, work, invest, learn, and innovate anywhere within North America. And they say trade has exploded in the 2 decades since the passage of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. Well, how has that worked out for you? I don't think it's worked out for us really too well. But they say the economic prosperity and education and security of Mexico's people. See, this is all about bringing us down and not taking Mexico up, but they're portraying it as bringing Mexico up to the same level as America. They say that will help to determine the overall competitiveness of North America on the global stage. They say barriers to movement that remain too high for the people who help drive and who stand to benefit from that growth. In other words, you stand to benefit from this growth if you're coming into Mexico and you can get out-of-state tuition at any university that you want, and you can stay as long as you want. And, oh, by the way, you may be able to get free junior college education, which isn't free. If you read the actual plan from the White House, he's only proposing to pay up to 75%. And we can take bets as to how long you think it's going to take for that 25% that you pay. How long is it going to take for that 25% to be more expensive than the 100% that you're paying right now? Of course, what's happened is, as we see government increasingly subsidize college educations, we've seen the price go up, just as we've seen the price go up on health insurance and other things that they subsidize. It always works out that way. Now, the interesting thing, I think, is the angle that the New American took, which basically said that this is something where they have worked for years to deny that this is anything that was really happening, calling it a conspiracy theory, and now they're running op-ed pieces saying we need to get rid of our passports. Now, we've got a couple of people on the phone who want to talk about the American Union and the New World Order, but we've got Scott from California who's been waiting a long time. He's an executive at a hospital. He said he wanted to talk about hospital flu shots. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, David. I appreciate you taking the call. First-time caller, long-time listener.
Well, thank you for calling.
I work at a hospital. I appreciate it. I work at a hospital in Southern California, and definitely the flu shot is getting people sick. I was one of the few people that that declined it. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of peer pressure they put on you for not taking the flu shot. There's green badges and red badges, and you're a complete pariah in the organization if you don't take the flu shot and have a little green badge. But everybody I know that took the shot has gotten sick, and it all came on probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It started, but they do them in batches, and so as each batch hit, you started to see the people that got those batches get sick in all the departments. We had a time when a lot of the hospital was out because they were all sick.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I think when Piers Morgan made a big deal out of it when he was still on American television, he made a big deal out of getting his flu shot, and he immediately got the flu. It's like, but that's just an anecdotal evidence. We're just saying it doesn't prove anything, but it kind of looks like what we've been hearing from a lot of people. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely going on. And I mean, the other thing I was going to say, I also want to talk a little bit about the chemtrails. Because I recently moved to the Valley, and about a week and a half ago, they started really spraying heavy. And they've stopped again now, but, it was right, and I don't know if there's any correlation, but it was right before, the East Coast got hit by the storm of the century. And the timing was sort of around when that weather system would have hit out there. They finally let it rain again out here. It hasn't been raining for a long time. And, they stopped the trailing a little bit, and it's been raining a little bit, which has been good, but... I don't know what's to that. I've been trying to figure it out. I'm kind of a scientist by background, so. Well,
clearly they've talked about how they could use climate change. I mean, there was just a conference in Germany this last fall where they're talking about. Well, we know we can do this. Of course, we're not doing it. We're really not doing this right now. But, if we were to do it, for example, who gets to set the thermostat? Who gets to decide what the weather is going to be when we start modifying the weather? And, of course, there's a lot of different aspects to that. And we've had someone who did a Paul Revere contest entry who also has an app. It's called Skyder Alert. And they've basically crowdsourced research on people when they see massive persistent contrails that are kind of in a grid position that's a bit unusual. They take pictures of it, they send it around so that they can kind of crowdsource the research. And they've noticed a correlation between an increase in temperature and areas where they had that kind of cloud formation. So we have to do our own research because we know that the government will not tell us what they're doing. Whether it's the North American Union, whether it's the Trans-Pacific Partnership, whether it's Benghazi, any of this stuff, we're not going to get any straight answers from them. All they do is treat us with contempt. So we have to do our own research. Thank you so much, Scott. Let's go to Dan in Tennessee. You said you wanted to talk about the American Union?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, gotcha. Go ahead.
Oh, fantastic. All right, thanks for having me, guys. I've been an info warrior for a long time, and you guys not only allowed me to meet my wife and have our 3 beautiful sons, but also got me through economic school.
Oh, great.
Here's what I want to talk about.
That's great.
I mean that with all my heart. I love you guys. What the New World Order is, for all y'all out there, is exactly as they're saying. They're absolutely correct, and I have a BBA in economics, and this is what I learned. When you cheat the dollar, when a country is on the Keynesian system, which every country in the world is, you have fiscal policy and you have monetary policy. Monetary policy is when you print money, which is our bailouts, and fiscal policy is the budget and our spending. Whenever you join one of these unions, and this can be seen in the European Union, an example is Greece, you give up your monetary policy. You give up your ability to print. And the only thing you can do to save yourself if you're getting in a hole is to spend using fiscal policy, because it's the only tool you have left. That's where the power comes from. That's what the New World Order is. They're going to bankrupt the United States until we have no other choice. That's the problem, the reaction, the solution, as David Icke says. They're going to come in and say, we have the solution, join the American Union, and the penalty for that is you will give up your monetary policy, and all we can do is spend like Greece, and we see where that gets them, and that is the New World Order.
And it just, we see this being done over and over again, and you have to ask the question, after they have given us 0% interest rates, after they've printed currency, after they bribe us to give up our freedoms and bribe the state governments by this using this paper money, and even after we see oil prices plunge, they're still saying, well, we aren't expecting any economic growth this next year. So what kind of a situation is the global economy in when all of those factors together even all the massive printing, the quantitative easing, nothing is pulling it out. Zero interest rates, cheap oil, nothing is really setting the economy on fire. Thank you so much, Dan. Let's go to Elle in California. Elle?
Hello?
Hello. Go ahead. You're on the air?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead. You said you wanted to talk about the New World Order?
Yes. Here's what I was thinking. I was thinking that we hire the best lawyers. We hire the best lawyers in the world to go after the Agenda 21, the waters that they're messing up, the food, the air, everything. And I was thinking what we can do is we can put a pot on InfoWars where everyone would donate and put money into it, and it's so that we can pay the lawyers and we can get our country back. And then we hire, with that pot, we hire bodyguards to protect them as well.
Well, that's a good idea, but, you know, my take on it is I want to look at something that I can do directly instead of trying to appeal to courts. We have politically appointed judges. And we were just talking to Rosa Corey yesterday, and, of course, the plan part of the North American Union, part of pulling all this together is all about sovereignty. And one of the ways that they take that sovereignty away is working at the local level, telling people that they're doing things for sustainability. They're trying to help you with your transportation at the local level. We need to expose that this is a comprehensive plan that goes throughout the United States, throughout the world. This is something that is an agenda that was created by the United Nations. It's a blueprint for how they remove your sovereignty, for how they bankrupt you. And so if we can do that and we can expose that a little bit at a time at local meetings, that's very effective. That's something that you can do as an individual in the information war, educating other people. The other thing you can do is you can also educate people about juries. That is one of the most important things that we've ever had in terms of levers of power. It is the most direct lever of power that the American people have. And that is to basically shut down laws that we don't agree with, abuses of laws that we don't agree with. We just had another article about yet another person who is now facing a 37-year jail term because the FDA has put on their hit list something called MMS. Now, I'm not going to go into whether or not whether it's good or bad. We know that hundreds of thousands of people die. I think it's about 160,000 people die a year from FDA-approved drugs. There's no record of anybody dying from this particular supplement. Yet they will try to put this guy in jail for 37 years. And he's got a trial coming up. Wouldn't you like to be able to shut that down? Wouldn't you like to be able to say, I'm not going to let the FDA send somebody to jail for 37 years because they're using a supplement that, as far as we know, has not caused anybody to die, while they give cover to pharmaceutical companies that put stuff out that kills 150, 160,000 people a year. I'm not going to send him to jail for 37 years. I'm not going to send my neighbor to jail for 20 years because you set up this mandatory minimum related to marijuana. Maybe they're using it for recreation. Maybe they're using it for health. But based on the quantity, you're telling me I've got to send them, I've got to, if they're guilty, if they really have this, that I should be a part of sending that person to jail for 20 years? No. You have a right to judge not only the facts of the case, but how it's being applied and whether or not you agree with these laws. And if we stop being sheep, if we educate each other about this and we have the integrity to stand up and refuse to send our fellow Americans to jail, that is a very powerful thing. If we're not willing to do that, a lot of the other things that we say that would be great if we could do it are never going to happen. Unless you put the skin on the line and you say, I'm not going to be a part of this and I'm going to refuse to be a part of this. And there's just a couple of things. There's other things that you can do that don't revolve around getting somebody elected in this corrupt electoral system that we've got. It doesn't involve pleading for your rights from the court system that is thoroughly corrupted, that is lying to the jurors when they come in. So there's a lot of things that I think we can do individually. Let's go to Mike in Wyoming. Mike?
Yes,
actually, hang on. We got to go to a commercial break. I got off on a rant. We're out of time in this segment. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the people that are useful idiots. We've got this. We're going to play the clip from Sweden where the BBC reporter goes there and gets chipped, and then they talk about how wonderful it is that they can operate their copy machine because they've got a chip in their hand. Hey, if I want to get in your business and you got a chip in your hand, I'll just cut your hand off if I need to get in that badly. Can't you figure that out? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by InfidelBodyArmor.com. When it hits the fan, don't be left without the body armor that will save your life. With prices starting at just $374.99 and ships free. Get yours at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Just won't quit.
Hi, Ted Anderson with Midas Resources. Is it time to convert paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver yet? Get our 10 Reasons book free. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Worried about getting sick and feeling terrible for days or even weeks? You need Immudyne for a healthy immune system. Why get sick and bother with products that just don't work? For just $1 a day, Immudyne is all natural and safe for all lifestyles. Call 866-257-8668 to buy now before it's too late, before you get sick. Or go to IMMUDYNE.com, Immudyne.com, or call 866-257-8668.
Hi, folks. Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his two-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
Did you know by age 50, half of all men have an enlarged prostate? This means more urges to urinate, longer bathroom trips, waking at night to urinate, or issues with sex. If this sounds familiar, call us now, because we're shipping free bottles of Super Beta Prostate to listeners of this station. Super Beta Prostate is a non-prescription formula guaranteed to reduce the symptoms of your enlarged prostate. It's yours free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-852-1820. In clinical trials, the ingredient in Super Beta Prostate was shown to reduce urges to urinate, improve bladder emptying, reduce waking at night to urinate, and improve quality of life. This Super Beta Prostate free offer is for listeners of this station, but it won't last. Don't wait. Just call 1-800-852-1820. That's 1-800-852-1820. Call 1-800-852-1820.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, and we're going to continue with your calls. But before we do, this is kind of a short segment, and I just wanted to give you another article that I came across that is absolutely amazing. This is something that happened back in November. The Washington Post reported on this January the 27th. This is a Fairfax SWAT team raiding a high-stakes poker game, stealing their cash and threatening the poker players. Now, this is the way they reported. They were saying a high-stakes poker game. All of a sudden, they've got masked and heavily armed SWAT team officers kick in the door, point their assault rifles at everybody, and say, nobody move, you know, the usual drill that we've all seen. Hands up, and one guy says, they're pointing assault rifles at me. I can't believe that this is happening. This is a high-stakes game. It took $20,000 to get into this game. As they point out, that's twice the stake that you have to put up to get into the World Series of Poker's main event in Las Vegas. The game's host had $150,000 in front of him. Guess what the police did? They confiscated all of this money under civil asset forfeiture. This is the thing that they set up with the DEA a long time ago as part of the drug war, saying we can confiscate your car, your boat, your plane, your cash. We never have to charge you with a crime. We just take it and keep it. Now, in this particular case, I thought it was very interesting. They said, now what elevates this to a crime is if the dealer there is taking a cut. That's what elevates a poker game in the minds of the Fairfax police into a criminal enterprise. And yet the police themselves took a cut. They negotiated with these guys. I don't know why they negotiated, why they just didn't take all of it. I guess they figured out that if they took everything from these guys, they might fight it. But if they let them keep 60% and the cops just take a cut of 40%, then maybe they'll just shut up and go along with it. So the cops, I mean, is there no sense of irony here? They say, well, if you take a cut as part of the poker game, then that makes it a crime. And then the cops come in and take a cut. That's exactly what these guys are doing over and over again. And think about this. This is a Class 3 misdemeanor with a maximum fine of $500. Yet, one of these players who had $20,000 in front of him, they pointed out they took that. You think about that. They took $8,000 from this guy. Another guy, the guy that had $150,000, they took $60,000 from them for something that has a $500 misdemeanor charge. But here's the catch. Because it's civil asset forfeiture, they were never even charged with the misdemeanor. You get it? So that if they charged them with the crime, they could only get them for $500. And that would go into the court system or whatever. If they come in and use civil asset forfeiture, they can take $8,000 from one guy, $60,000 from another guy. Who knows how much money they took from the other players. And it goes into their pockets for their toys, and who knows if they keep it or not, because we've seen the corruption that this creates in our police forces. This is the corruption of the police force. They're turning into a mafia organization. They're running the drugs. They're running the gambling groups. They're shaking people down like some cheap movie out of the 1920s, coming into a private home and confiscating people's money because they're playing poker. Guess what? I don't play poker. I don't smoke pot. But it offends me that we have a criminal government that doesn't follow the rule of law, that uses these fictions like civil asset forfeiture. There was just an article in Wired magazine last week about a recent movie that came out, Black Hat. It's produced by Michael Mann, and you may remember Michael Mann was the guy who produced Miami Vice. And the person who was writing about this in Wired magazine, one of their contributing editors, said, yeah, I was a consultant on this, and when I started watching this, I thought, wow, I hope Congress doesn't watch this, because he goes on to talk about how they're expanding the criminal penalties for hacking. It wasn't for Congress. It was for the American people to do the same number that Michael Mann did back in the 80s about civil asset forfeiture, telling people it was cool. The only people that were losing their money were really bad criminals. And we don't have to worry about due process because it's cool if you come in and just take their expensive car. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. I'll be your host this hour. We're going to be taking your calls at 800-259-9231. Just before we came up to a commercial break last hour, I was going to Mike in Wyoming, and we ran out of time. So let's go to Mike in Wyoming. You want to talk about Islam? Is that right, Mike?
Islam and Vichy France, but Islam is more current. There's two areas where I think Alex is a little bit confused. Two areas, he and I have kind of paralleled our studies over the years, but on Islam, he keeps calling it Islamic terrorism. And a year or two back, President Obama held a press conference, and he said these terrorists are not Muslims. This is not Islam. It may have been the only truthful thing he ever said. Back in the early 1800s, the British intelligence sent agents into the Middle East to radicalize Muslims. They bankrolled a man named Abdul Wahab, and this is a guy who,
in Saudi Arabia. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and he gave a mandate to his followers to murder all Muslims. He hated Muslims. He hated the religion. He wanted to take them back to pre-Islamic, mother goddess worship days. And I suspect a lot of Wahhabis today don't even know that. But at any rate, England did that in order to try to destroy the Ottoman Empire, Turkey, what we call Turkey today, and Islamic religion in general. Today, you've got the state religion of Saudi is Wahhabi Islam, which is Wahhabism, let's call it. Most of and Qatar's their state-sponsored religion is Wahhabism.
And most people don't realize. Most people look at it as a monolithic thing, just as probably the Muslims look at Christianity as a monolithic thing. We don't understand that there's Sunnis and Shiites and Wahhabi, and they have very different approaches to things. But I think the key thing is that we see that our government, as you pointed out, even start having a role in the beginnings of Wahhabism. Our government is out there creating and arming and training Al-Qaeda, and they're creating and arming and training ISIS, and we see this being readily admitted. I think that's a key part of it. I think it's also interesting that when we see these shootings, so many times we see these guys behaving in a way that certainly would not be part of their religion. They're hanging out with prostitutes, and they're going to topless bars, and they're drinking heavily and using drugs, and it's like, gee, these guys look more like they work for the CIA or the Secret Service. They do that. They're part of a religious organization.
For that, they are Satanists fundamentally. They want to go back to pagan times. That's why there's such a resonance between them and the Kabbalists who control the New World Order movement. These guys are basically the same. They want to return us to pagan values so that they have a pretext to kill 90% of humanity for Mother Earth. So these guys should not be confused with real Muslims, and I agree with the Muslim clerics on this point. Remember Mattson said he was over in Iran a couple months ago, and the imams were wringing their hands and saying, "Hey, these guys that are running on the black pajamas they're not us," and he's right. These are the guys. It's these Satanists who are being bankrolled by the State Department and CIA. So the other point is on Vichy France. This one drives me nuts because I've argued this point with my cousin many times. You have to remember the historical context. Alex looks down his nose at the Vichy French, but remember, they had seen at least 20 years of 10 million people murdered, starved to death in Russia by the Yiddish-speaking bandits who took over that country, and so a lot of the French saw Germany as a bulwark against the Huns coming out of Russia, who were going to sweep.
I understand. Yeah, it's also it's just become a essentially meme, just like Quisling, who cooperated with the Nazis. I don't think that, just because somebody is wrong about something, it still doesn't excuse their collaboration. Thanks for the call. We're going to be right back with more of your calls, 800-259-9231. Stay with us.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet. Year after year, we watch the threats steadily increase. And now, this winter has been the worst on record when it comes to our immune systems and health. For more than 2 years, InfoWarsLife.com has been watching this crisis intensify, and Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex was our answer. Using a proprietary process that takes ancient proven herbs and combines them with modern science, this powerful and affordable formula contains more than 14 key herbs and extracts, including echinacea, ginger root, elderberry, golden seal root, a proprietary yin chio formula, and many, many more. I take it, and so does my family. It's made in the USA, gluten-free, alcohol-free, no artificial flavors or colors, and not tested on animals. Take advantage of this introductory offer for Ancient Defense, normally $19.95, now only $14.95. That's 25% off. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139 to secure your Ancient Defense.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Welcome back to The Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host this hour. We're going to go back to your calls. Before we do, there was an article that got posted on InfoWars today. It's a clip from our show yesterday. We had a caller call in and say that he was forced to pay a hidden TSA fee in order to get his motorcycle. What he said was that there was a couple $100 fee, and the guy told him, yeah, we have to do all this paperwork and reporting for the TSA. We have to have them look to see if you're on a no-fly list before you can get a motorcycle. And we have to report to them if you're going to pay more than $2,500 in cash. The IRS has a $10,000 reporting limit. Of course, that's widely known. He said that the TSA, he was told by this vehicle dealership that the TSA needed to be notified if it was more than $2,500. You know, we'll listen to what you tell us when you call in. We'll cover it, but we'll also try to validate it. I could not find, and I just want to make this clear, do an update to the story. I could not find anywhere where I could verify that, A, the TSA was looking to see if people were on no-fly lists before they bought vehicles. I couldn't find anything about that. I also could not find anything where there were any reporting requirements to them about cash at $2,500. There is a entry form for goods that are being imported that are more than $2,500. So I'm not sure why that guy was telling him that. Perhaps he was just trying to jack the fees up. Maybe they had had some discussions and the guy picked up that he didn't like the TSA and was just kind of blaming some of that on the TSA. I don't know, but if you can validate this, we're open to any information on it. But as far as I can tell at this point, that is not the case. We want to not make extravagant claims that we can't support here. We will always try to verify the information that we receive. Now, this is something that is being reported by the BBC. This is an article that Paul Joseph Watson has up on our website today. Office implants microchips under their employees' skins. This is a BBC reporter who goes to a Swedish technology firm and does this gee whiz article about how they're getting chips implanted under their hand. And actually, you can see him grimace when he takes the chip. Here, we got a clip of this. Let's play a little bit of that.
Here in the centre of Stockholm, a new high-tech office building is open to welcome startups and established companies like Google and Microsoft. But there's one key thing about the technology of the building, and that is that people who work here can be chipped to gain entry to the building and various services.
Oh, boy.
I've just been chipped myself. It's not a painless process, but it doesn't last too long, not too difficult. Minor surgical procedure, which basically involves a little chip the size of, I suppose, of a grain of rice being inserted under your skin, and you can then go off and have it programmed and then do various things inside the building. Let's go and have a look. And here's Hannah Shawblood, who is in charge of this whole chipping operation in this building. Now, you've been chipped yourself. Where's your chip?
Yeah, I have a chip right here, which I use to access the entire office.
So let's see if we can get into this particular
This is how I do it.
Okay.
No need for passcodes.
And we're in. So, what else can you use this for? Is it just for gaining entry to doors? Because that would seem a fairly simple thing.
Absolutely not. I mean, with this technology, I interact with all kinds of devices all around us. It can be normally my smartphone. I unlock my smartphone, my computer, I unlock my bike. All kinds of things that are now part of the greater connected Internet of Things.
But inside this building, you'll be able to do what else? What other thing will you be able to do?
Oh, I open the front door, I open various office rooms.
Pause this right here. Is this really that groundbreaking a technology? Do you really need to get a chip implanted so that you can do any of the stuff that he just described? I can do every bit of that, and so can you, without having a chip implanted in me. I can get into a door, I can unlock my car, I can use my phone, I can use a photocopier. I don't need to have a chip implanted. If they think that's going to somehow make them more secure, I mean, come on. It's been a common thing in science fiction where they've got a biometric of somebody's hand, they've got to get into a place, or somebody's eyeball. They did in Minority Report. You just take their eyeball out, you cut off their hand or whatever. I would rather have my key stolen, actually, than to have that happen. But what really offends me about all this is the gee whiz attitude by these reporters and by this technology company saying, isn't this groundbreaking? Isn't this special? There's nothing special about this. We need to understand how sinister this is going to be, the use of this is going to become, and that's what he says in the very next section. Continue playing this, guys. I want you to get this guy's report.
Open the copy machine so that I can log into it.
So you can print just by putting your hand against the printer?
Exactly. So it's instead of having some clumsy device in my pocket, I just put my hand on the reader. If we help show people that this is really not that complicated, it's making our lives easier, I think people will actually welcome this tool to make their lives easier.
And is there a sort of wider philosophy behind it?
We are early adopters of this technology. We experiment with it. We learn it, how it works, because I think that there might be a day when the tax man or big corporates will come to us and say, hey, try this chip, try this implant. And then we, the biohackers, who understand this technology, we will be able to question their proposals.
Oh, he's going to be the good guy who's going to save you from the bad corporation, the bad government, the tax man who is forcing this chip on you? Come on. He doesn't need to actually put the chip in and use it to understand the sinister purposes of it or to even hack it. It's going to be very easy to hack that, just like it's going to be very easy to hack your car. They're already talking about how the Internet of Things doesn't even have the security that the Internet has. So this is something that it really disturbs me to see this happen. I don't want to go back to your calls. Let's go to Switchblade in Texas. Switchblade, you want to talk about North American Union?
Yes. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good.
We at Anonymous North Texas have actually been focusing on this for about a year now, and I remember many mentions of the 2005 reports put out by the Council on Foreign Relations, and you were speaking earlier about David Petraeus at the Margaret Thatcher Conference for Liberty after America What? Well, in October they published on CFR.org a task force report for North America, Time for a New Focus. Here's the kicker. Everything you're saying has been going absolutely correct, but it's being chaired by David Petraeus and Robert Zoellick. For listeners, Robert Zoellick is the chairman for the International Board of Advisors for Goldman Sachs, and he's the former president of the World Bank.
Yeah. And trade representative too, right? Trade representative negotiating some of these treaties. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This starts with the Keystone XL pipeline, merging energy sectors between Canada, Mexico, and the United States. They're wanting to create a shared workforce through travel visas and also include the pathway to citizenship in order to basically mold the economies together. They're going to use NAFTA to embrace the TPP. Canada and Mexico are already on the TPP. The Transatlantic Trade Investment Partnership, the TTIP, they're making the argument that if North America was represented as a whole on the National Security Council, then it would have been no problem getting them on the TTIP, whereas right now they're facing some backlash for that. So this is all going down into disease control, trade agreements, into complete consolidation of economies. And as you alluded to earlier, you know, we can't just take a falling economy, mix it with a barely stable economy, and have good economy. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, if anybody wants to, if everybody out there is scratching their head, if you voted for a Republican, and you're wondering why they're not doing anything about the border situation or illegal immigration, and yet they have just voted for the 10th time about the Keystone Pipeline, passing it yet again, even though Obama says he's not going to sign it. I'm sure that's negotiable. I'm sure if they give him something he wants or something he can give to his base, he will. They are going to push this thing through, and as I've said before, if you understand who is going to benefit from this Keystone Pipeline, you know who owns the Republican Party, but it's not even important enough to know that. Just know that they are bought and sold by some corporate interests. And of course, TransCanada, which is running the Keystone Pipeline, they're obviously going to benefit from this. And they've been given in Nebraska courts the right to come in, and as a foreign Canadian corporation, they can come in and use eminent domain to take people's property in Nebraska. What's going on with that? Are you okay with that? I'm not okay with a foreign corporation doing that. They'd like to talk about how Keystone Pipeline is going to be built completely with private funds, except they're going to use eminent domain to take private lands. And this is what it's about. It's about destroying our economy, destroying our sovereignty, and that's why the Keystone Pipeline and open borders is not just the fact that they're going to put open borders and the immigration issue on a back burner so they can deliver for their corporate masters. It's that these are all interconnected with the North American Union, as our caller is just pointing out. Go ahead. You had some good information. Keep going.
Well, that pretty much gives it the summary. I am limited on time here, but what I do recommend to people is if you Google that, if you Google North America, time for a new task force, CFR will pop right up on there. There's so much information embedded in this. Basically, you'll realize that every hot news story that you've heard for the past year and a half is all intertwined into this report. My prediction that I put out there on our own platforms is we'll see the Keystone go through like we're already starting to see now. Oh, yeah. And the next Republican president, which will be kind of like Obama had a full Democratic majority, will have a full Republican majority. That's when we'll see it enacted fully.
And I think it's very important to see who signs on as a supporter, as a politician, to see who signs on to these trade agreements. These are the people who have sold their soul to the globalist elite. If you look at David Petraeus, just as the caller pointed out, he's heading up these talks. Of course, he's now become a regular attendee at Bilderberg. That's the way these things are going down. Of course, he was the one talking a couple of years ago about the Internet of Things when he was CIA director, how they were going to listen to you through your home appliances. And, of course, people laughed about that. Science fiction, they would never do that. Okay, they're doing it now. Let's go to Scott in Washington. Hang on, Scott. We're going to go to a commercial break, and we're going to come right back to you after the break. We've got Justin in Maryland. We've got The Watcher and several other callers that are on the line. We'll get back to our calls right after the break. That number is 800-259-9231. Stay with us. Kissinger, our Henry Kissinger update. There we go. That tune was playing through my mind the whole time I was at Bilderberg last year, and we were looking for pictures of Henry Kissinger. Basically, we were so close that we got pictures that nobody's ever gotten at Bilderberg before, confirming who was there. And, of course, David Petraeus, who we were just talking about, he was there. Now Henry Kissinger shows up again. I guess the bon vivant of war criminals shows up to testify to John McCain and his Senate panel. And they were protested by Code Pink. Here's a clip of that. Kind of a tame demonstration. And when I looked at this, there's George Shultz telling him, go away, go away. So you've got a panel there in front of McCain. You've got George Shultz. You've got Henry Kissinger. and you've got Madeleine Albright. And John McCain calls the protesters scum. When I heard that, get out of here, you low-life scum, I thought he was talking to his panelists. But no, he was talking to the protesters. Madeleine Albright, remember, she was the one who was asked, there's been 500,000 people, children actually, more than that in terms of people, 500,000 people have died from your embargo in Iraq. Is it worth it? And she didn't argue. She didn't say, no, there haven't been 500,000 people die from that. There haven't been 500,000 children die from that. She said, no, it was worth it. It was worth it. That's one of the attendees. And, of course, you've got George Shultz and Henry Kissinger with his long list of things, Vietnam and Chile, as they called him out on. One of the things, though, that I thought was strange when I watched it, and Kurt Nimmo picked up on this, was, look, they're not doing anything to throw these people out. I mean, they were just standing back. It was almost like it was a little, kind of a very tepid demonstration there, kind of a... I don't know how to characterize it, but they weren't doing anything. I mean, you didn't have thugs rush in and taser them like we see being done routinely in our high schools to people who aren't doing anything. No, they just kind of laid back and let these guys shout. And then Senator McCain talked about what a great person Henry Kissinger was. Of course, Kurt Nimmo points out that Code Pink does have connections to the Soros Foundations, the same people who are calling for a North American passport. I don't know that these people were necessarily, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll say that they really don't like Henry Kissinger, that they were really sincere in doing this, but I would also say there's probably individuals in the organization that knew this was going to happen, that passed the word on to the National Endowment for Democracy, which is linked to them, which is a documented CIA front. They probably passed that on, or even if they didn't pass it on, they allowed this demonstration to go for a while so that they could look like they were rising above it. An absolute war criminal. But these are the people who are plotting the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement. These are the people, David Petraeus and others, who are now working at the next level after what they have done at North American Union, and they are rolling out and making it public what they have done 20 years on into the North American Union. Let's go back to your calls. Let's go to the Watcher. You want to talk about autopilot in cars. Go ahead.
Hey, David, it's great to talk to you. I think you're one of the best
well, thanks for calling.
people that run the airwaves right now. Okay. Years ago, we were doing that already. We were controlling aircraft remotely.
Oh, yeah.
For the alphabet soup companies. When I say we, I'm not alone in it. Many people have already done it. At the time, it was for basically covert monitoring of criminals, but that has all changed.
I always thought it was very interesting, just the timing, the fact that, hey, right after we have the 9/11, all of a sudden they've now instantly got drones ready. It's kind of like the way they had all the X-ray machines set up when the underwear bomber ran through. They already had the X-ray machines designed, built, and on the loading docks ready for delivery to your airports. And it's like same thing happened with drones. It takes a very long time to put these things out there. They made it public after 9/11, and most people didn't talk about that. Hang on, if you can, after the break, we'll come back to you, because I do want to talk about that. I do want to talk about the fact that they've been doing this for a very long time. I remember seeing pictures of commercial airlines that they were crash testing. They'd load them up with dummies, they would crash them into the ground, and of course they were flying them remotely. And we know that in the 60s, they were talking about in Operation Northwoods, flying buildings into planes and blaming it on Cuban terrorists. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild-crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. Year after year, we watched the threats steadily increase. And now, this winter has been the worst on record when it comes to our immune systems and health. For more than 2 years, InfoWarsLife.com has been watching this crisis intensify, and Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex was our answer, using a proprietary process that takes ancient proven herbs and combines them with modern science. This powerful and affordable formula contains more than 14 key herbs and extracts, including echinacea, ginger root, elderberry, golden seal root, a proprietary yin chio formula, and many, many more. I take it, and so does my family. It's made in the USA, gluten-free, alcohol-free, no artificial flavors or colors, and not tested on animals. Take advantage of this introductory offer for Ancient Defense, normally $19.95, now only $14.95. That's 25% off. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139 to secure your Ancient Defense.
What disaster is so powerful, it unleashes a chain of mass pandemics, economic meltdowns, and violent food riots, all at the same time? NASA has already set the countdown timer, and right now the 21st century apocalypse is less than 13 months away. Former CIA Director James Woolsey says 2/3 of U.S. population could perish. In a matter of seconds, the world as we know it will cease to exist. The world's economy will be wiped out. Mass riots will follow. Ancient diseases will reemerge. How will you shield yourself and your loved ones from this upcoming apocalypse? Go to darkestdays.info to find out proven methods of protecting yourself, your loved ones, and even your entire community when this worst-case scenario unravels. That's darkestdays.info. darkestdays.info. Go there before this life-saving information becomes unavailable to the large public. Go to darkestdays.info now.
You are listening to an InfoWars.com frontline report. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. We're going to go back to your calls in just a moment. We were talking to someone, the watcher from FEMA 9, and he was talking to us about his experience with autopilot technology. I want to go back to him. Before we do, I want to tell you about a new product we have at InfoWars Life. And of course, as far back as Roman times and for thousands of years, oil of oregano was traditionally used to support digestive health. But of course, if you've ever used it, you know that it burns your mouth if you take it in liquid form. So what we've come up with is a new nutraceutical form of highly active oregano oil in an easy-to-take capsule form. It's time to support your body's natural immunity, and of course, it also supports our operation here. You can get it at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWars Life's Oil of Oregano Capsules, and that's available now. That's one of our new products. Let's go back to the watcher from FEMA area number 9. Tell us about your experiences with autopilot technology.
Okay, well, there's a couple of things. Installing them is very, very common. Now, the difference between an autopilot and remotely controlled is obviously some way to communicate with the autopilot from somewhere else. And those systems you can literally buy online, and they go through internet, or they go through Wi-Fi, or they go through satellite, you name it. Those systems have been around for many, many years. And as you said, you know, they weren't flying, nobody was flying those aircraft when they were doing the crash testing. So if you think about it, there's two things real quick. The military does not mothball something until they have something to replace it. The SR-71 is mothballed. A lot of things have been mothballed, so obviously they have something to replace it. The autopilots, we've got remote control cars everywhere. Okay, so what you see that they have, yeah, the drones popped out. Those have been around for a lot longer than that. When I was in the military, we had drones, and that was in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of things that are out there. Like you look at the DARPA things on YouTube, Atlas, that's 20 years ago.
Oh,
That's just for show.
They're not showing you the state-of-the-art stuff. And I think it's interesting that Operation Northwoods, which has been declassified, that was in the early 60s when they wanted to go after Castro's Cuba, and they were talking about using remote control planes to fly into buildings and simulated terrorist attacks. And so you got to ask yourself, well, they had it in the early 60s. How much earlier did they have it before that? I've been told that they had F-4 Phantom jets that were able to remotely pilot them and land them on aircraft carriers. I mean, did you see anything like that?
No, I didn't work on the F-4, but I worked on other aircraft. But see, the other thing is that the technology we see, that's nothing compared to what they have.
Yes.
And they're using continuously. The alphabet soup companies have a lot more than you can even imagine. But it's far past what anybody believes it could be. So there's so many people who are asleep and lost that they have no clue what it is. So we watch these movies in the media and all sorts of things like that, and we see this sci-fi technology, and it's not science fiction, it's reality. And if you have a chance, if you could talk to me on the break, I can give you my contact information. I would love to talk with you for hours about a lot of different subjects. I'm sort of a covert engineer. Okay? So if you've got time,
sure, yeah, give your contact information to, you guys grab his contact information. Appreciate it. Thanks for the call. Let's go to Bob in Michigan. You wanted to talk about eminent domain. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to connect a couple more dots when you were talking about the pipeline and all the little scams they're trying to do. Well, we'll sign it if you give me something, all the criminals there. If you, your listeners want to go back and probably on some search engine look up the Kelo case. This is a Supreme Court case.
Oh, yeah.
Where it gave almost carte blanche to eminent domain, and it wasn't for any public use or any noble thing like it's kind of mentioned in the Constitution. This is an aberrant version of this used in the corporate United States to and people please understand that we're not dealing with this with the Constitution you think you are.
Oh, yeah.
And this is how they did it, and they're going to use the background of that Kelo case to just decimate any of the property they want, just pick it up and shove you off. And if you don't like it, they'll send a SWAT team out or whatever for you. And but don't think for 1 minute that this has anything to do with the Constitution. This is how far down the tubes we're coming. I just wanted to make that other connection for you, because the Kelo case, when I saw that come out, I just shook my head. And not only is it draconian, it has nothing to do with our rights. And people get into these things sometimes, and they start, going up and down about, my rights, this, that, or the other thing. This is an administrative agency. It's a fourth illegitimate arm of government. Please just understand that's what you're dealing with.
Oh, absolutely. And for people who are just tuning in, we were talking about the Keystone Pipeline and the fact that they're bragging about this. Oh, this is a privately funded pipeline. Why won't you let this happen? And, of course, the profits are going to be kept privately. But you have a corporation, a foreign corporation, a Canadian corporation that is now going to be coming into the United States and going into people's homes, their farms. The one particular case in Nebraska, I read where the people were fighting it. It was a family farm that had been in the family for over 100 years. And they're coming in and saying, we want it for our pipeline. We have a business. It's like, time out. I have a business too. I have a family farm business that's been in business for 100 years. Who are you to tell me that you're going to take my property when I don't want to sell it, and you're a foreign corporation? That's the way this is turning out. As the caller just pointed out, they established their precedent using their politically appointed judges to do this sort of thing. Now they're taking it to the next level. It's one of the ways that they're going to get us off of the land and push us into the cities, just as we were talking about yesterday with Agenda 21. That's why you need to educate yourself about this. We talked to Rosa Corey. We sell the book, Behind the Green Mask, the UN Agenda 21. Educate yourself not only about what their plans are, but how to shut their plans down when they come in with their magic dog and pony show that they put on that's been scripted by the Rand Corporation, their Delphi techniques, to come in and try to convince the local residents that this is something that's just happening locally, that they're a part of this. No, they're being used as dupes, they're being used as pawns, and you can shut that down if you understand what's going on. And she gives you tips for how to shut that down. And believe me, it is going on in your area, wherever you are. Let's go to James in Michigan. Go ahead, James.
Thank you for taking my call. I'd like to share with everybody a contest idea that I've been messing around with in my head. It would be the Real Rick Ross Rap Contest. And if you guys consider it, that'd be great. I'd enter in myself.
A Real Rick Ross contest? What, I'm sorry, what was the detail about? Say that again?
A real Rick Ross rap.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
It could either be people call in with their one or two verse raps, or maybe just full-fledged video that gets submitted to InfoWars. I prefer that too.
All right, we'll pass it on and see what Alex wants to do. I've got someone here who has called in. He says he disagrees with us strongly about vaccines. Matt in California. Go ahead, Matt.
Yes, hello, this is Matt, and I'm calling from occupied Azatlan. I wanted to take issue with you anti-vaxxers, right-wingers, rednecks, who are trying to blame this measles outbreak and diseases, bed bugs, on our dreamer brothers and sisters from the south of the border, trying to blame this on our undocumented citizens. It's an outrage. It's hate speech.
Have you heard, I'm sorry, hang on a second. Have you heard me blame it on immigrants? Don't put words in my mouth. Tell me why you think we should be forced to be vaccinated. What gives you the right to tell me that I should get a shot, that my children should be shot? What gives you that right?
Do you
have some science to back that up? I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, the science of vaccines, if I can speak, the science of vaccines, which work effectively 100% of the time. And the white race...
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, you haven't read the CDC memo, have you? It was 99% last week. Now they're telling people it's 97%. So it's not 100% even by their own statistics. I understand the technology of vaccines. I understand passive immunity as well. I also understand, and do you know what adjuvants are?
Let me tell you what.
Do you know? Wait, answer me the question. You want to talk about science? Tell me, do you understand what adjuvants are and why they're used?
You're trying to change. Listen,
no, I'm not changing the subject. That's on vaccines. Adjuvants, let me educate you about this. Adjuvants are things like aluminum, formaldehyde, MSG. They're put in there to try to provoke an immune response. You know why they give kids MMRs twice? Because it doesn't always take. So they try to provoke your immune system. When they provoke your immune system, it still doesn't work for some of the kids. That's why it's not 100% effective. Some of the kids will have adverse reactions to it, unintended consequences. Do you think we should be educated as to what those risks are? Do you think I, as a parent, should make that decision? Or should you and the government make that decision for me, Matt?
I believe that the government should make the decision because you are not qualified, because you're clinging to outdated beliefs and white privilege.
You have no right to tell me, play the race card. Baloney. This is about the science, and this is about families, and it's about people having the right to make the decisions about their families, about their lives, an informed, educated opinion. You don't know the first thing about vaccines. Don't tell me that you're going to force me with a vaccine. You're going to try to shoot me or shoot my kids with something I don't want. You better have a gun instead of a hypodermic needle. I don't need any more of this call. Let's go to Mark in California. Mark.
Yeah, I'd just like to rectify a mistake you made in regards to a plan back in the 1960s that they were going to fly buildings into planes. Could you embellish that?
Yeah, no, planes into buildings. Did I say buildings into planes? I'm sorry. No. Yeah, that was Operation Northwoods. Okay, let's go to Justin in Maryland. Justin, go ahead. Hey, go ahead. You're on.
Let that last caller be a slave by herself, David. I'd like to shout out the whole InfoWars All-Star team, you, Jakari, Alex, Leanne, all of you guys. And the nascent iodine is pretty good. I just wanted to let you guys know that. And people in Maryland are waking up.
Good.
We got rid of the Democratic governor last time, and we got a Republican in there. And just letting you guys know, keep doing what you guys are doing. I've been pulled over like 5 times by other people looking at my bumper stickers. And you guys are catching fire. Everybody loves you guys. So
they pulled you over because of the bumper stickers to tell you that they know about InfoWars? Is that what they pulled you over for? Or?
Just other people while I'm on the road at
I see.
Off the road. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, people are listening, man. You guys, doing great, man. I love you guys.
Well, that's great. Thanks for the support. Yeah, I'm sorry. There really wasn't any point to talk to that last guy because he basically just wanted to try to turn this into racism. Do you understand how they do that with every issue? They don't want to talk about the issue. They don't know anything about vaccines. They don't know anything about the stuff that's put into the vaccines. If you want to talk about vaccines, certainly I understand the theory behind it. We talked about passive immunity when we were talking about Ebola. They're giving people convalescent serum. I understand how antibodies work. Do you understand that once you put aluminum in the vaccines, you're talking about an entirely different game? And no, I don't ever agree that the government should make those decisions for me or for my family. I will never agree to that. My freedom is more important than any bogus safety or security issues that you're going to give me. And I am never going to take those decisions that belong to me. I'm never going to surrender those decisions to a government, and neither should you. Every time they offer you security and safety, if you just give up your liberty, you realize, of course, that you never get the security. You never get the safety. Why is that? You ever think about that? You ever think about the fact that somebody who is a slave doesn't have any safety or security? The kind of security you're going to get is the kind of security you get in a maximum security facility. That's a prison. You're just putting yourself and your children in a prison when you give up and surrender your rights because you think something is going to be safe for you. Vaccines are not safe. They're not effective. Even the CDC talks about what's in the vaccines. We need to have that conversation. People need to be informed of the risk. Do you think that maybe there's something up when the CDC is more concerned about a measles outbreak than they are concerned about Ebola, where they take more precautions about measles than they do about Ebola, where they keep telling everybody, don't worry, Ebola's not going to get out of hand, but, oh, measles is out of control. We need to take the children away from their parents. We need to kick the kids who aren't vaccinated out of schools. You understand there's a different agenda going on. You understand you're being lied to when you see that sort of thing. Measles is a childhood disease. I had it as a child. It's not a big deal if you get it as a child. In my generation, parents wanted their kids to get measles early. They would send us down to the neighbor's house to get measles because that gave us real immunity. And it was something that was a very minor thing. We put that risk up against the risk of autism or other immune system reactions that have very negative life-transforming consequences for the child, for the entire family. And we, as parents, will make that decision. And we're not going to be sidetracked by some kind of silly racist argument. It's not racist to be concerned about the vaccines and to make the decisions for your family. Now, there's an article that was up on Reason Magazine that asks, is lying about marijuana a prerequisite to become Attorney General? And they're talking about the new appointee who is supposedly going to take Eric Holder's place, and she's talking about just how dangerous pot is. And they say that when Senator Sessions was interviewing her, he admitted in an interview that he was heartbroken last year when Obama admitted, talking to the New Yorker, that they say something that's obvious to anyone who considers the evidence. He said alcohol, as measured by acute toxicity, as measured by impact on driving ability, frequency of addiction, and the long-term effects of heavy consumption, is more dangerous than marijuana. Now, we can have this discussion as to which of these things is worse. But again, it comes back to the issue about legal issues, about are we going to trade our liberty and our rule of law for safety, for the promise of safety. I don't use either one. I don't use pot or alcohol. I really don't care which one is more or less harmful. That's a decision for individuals to make. It's not a decision that government should make. It's not a decision if you're someone who doesn't use it. You should not be wanting to pay to lock up a higher proportion of our population in prison than any other country on the planet. You should rebel against that. And one of the things they say was Jeff Sessions, Senator Sessions, is a just say no prohibitionist. We don't have marijuana prohibition. They never passed an amendment to the Constitution. We had that for alcohol. We got 2 amendments, one to make it legal again, one that prohibited it in the first place. We no longer respect the rule of law. That's the issue. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We all have our own idea about what being safe and secure means. The door's locked, bills are paid, you've got a job that keeps the lights on, and a home to call your own. But what happens when Mother Nature throws a curveball? Are you prepared to live without electricity or passable roads for weeks at a time? Do you even have a plan B? If you do, are you willing to bet your life on it?
Children left with no homes.
And no one's coming to help them.
The first step towards self-reliance in the face of disaster is a visit to MyPatriotSupply.com. There you'll find the absolute best prices on storable foods, non-GMO seeds, emergency water filtration devices, and so much more. All orders over $49 qualify for free shipping in the lower 48 states. Call 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927 and speak to one of our preparedness advisors today. Or visit us at MyPatriotSupply.com. Remember, before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare.
Year after year, we watched the threats steadily increase. And now, this winter has been the worst on record when it comes to our immune systems and health. For more than 2 years, InfoWarsLife.com has been watching this crisis intensify. And Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex was our answer, using a proprietary process that takes ancient proven herbs and combines them with modern science. This powerful and affordable formula contains more than 14 key herbs and extracts, including echinacea, ginger root, elderberry, golden seal root, a proprietary yin chio formula, and many, many more. I take it, and so does my family. It's made in the USA, gluten-free, alcohol-free, no artificial flavors or colors, and not tested on animals. Take advantage of this introductory offer for Ancient Defense, normally $19.95, now only $14.95. That's 25% off. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139 to secure your Ancient Defense.
Hey, Boomer! I learned in school today that 60% of our bodies are made of water. Good thing we have the Berkey system. It's the cleanest, best water ever. Mom says it's because the Berkey's filtration system cleans out the bad stuff and leaves only pure, delicious water. I know, right? You love it too. Yeah, I'm thirsty too. Let's go get some. Get Berkey clean water by calling 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653. Or visit GoBerkey.com.
Attention all radio listeners. Survival Life is giving away free credit card knives exclusively to our radio listeners here today. Visit mycreditcardknife.com to see this covert knife in action and claim yours for free. It's the same knife you've seen in the airline magazines for $29.95, but today it's yours free. Just pay shipping and handling. mycreditcardknife.com, mycreditcardknife.com. Go now.
You look like an angel, walk like an angel.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host for the rest of the show here. We've got other people who are lining up to talk about vaccines. Let's go to Andrew in Illinois. Go ahead, Andrew.
I've only had the flu for about 2 times the past 35 years, and that was when I was talking to having a flu shot that I caught the flu. Yeah. Otherwise, I didn't catch the flu.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's interesting. Yeah.
One more thing on with the InfoWars ordering, they put a $5 coupon in each order, but you have 12 orders and then 12 coupons. They're out of one coupon out of all of them. They should revamp that to award people who order frequently.
Okay.
And I'd like to see them revamp that, you know.
All right, we'll pass that on. We'll pass that on. Thank you. And thank you for supporting us. Thank you so much. Let's go to Craig in California. Craig, you want to talk about flu shots also, I think.
Yes, it's almost noon in California. I wanted to say that
there was a long time ago, I worked for Walgreens, and I don't like them. I don't go to their stores anymore, but I'll tell you why. Years back, I think it was about 8 years back, maybe more, they had some women in Michigan get flu shots. It had squalene, which is the white cells, I think, from the chicken. It had antifreeze in it. And hello, for the uneducated guy out there, think about this. If dogs or cats drink antifreeze, it'll kill them.
Yeah.
And I don't trust the medical field. I'm also military retired. I've actually talked to Alex Jones before. It's not my first time calling. It was about the Dias issue a long time back. Anyway, the thing is, look at Xarelto. They're still advertising that on TV, and yet there's people bleeding to death internally. Why isn't that off the shelf? People out there need to start waking up because they are purposely poisoning people.
Absolutely, and you gotta wonder when you see, get a gas fill up and get a flu shot for free or something. I mean, what's going on with this? I mean, if I was going to get a shot, I would go to a medical facility. I wouldn't go to a retail store. And I'm seeing everybody sell these things. I mean, it's turned into a racket, and what we need is informed consent. Okay. There's two parts of that. We need to be informed about what the real risks are, what the real contents are. Read what's in the vaccines. And then they need to get our consent. It's ultimately my decision, my family's decision to make, parents' decisions to make for their children. That's the thing that concerns me the most, is that they don't care whether or not we consent. They just want to inject us with their pharmaceuticals. Thank you, Craig. Let's go to Mike in Pennsylvania. Mike, you also wanted to talk about vaccines.
David,
hey.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, I want to congratulate you. That was spectacular. I love to see when we can throw the facts right down in the face of people who are ignorant to the real facts out there.
Well, the thing that concerned me about it is that he didn't know anything about vaccines, but he also, the additives to them, but that he's trying to turn it into a racism thing. Like, we never talked about the origin of where it was coming. The only thing we talked about when we speculated about where this measles outbreak might have come from was patient zero, somebody who had actually been vaccinated. I mean, if this guy bothers to read the news, he can see people talking about how, yeah, I had my kid vaccinated, and it really bothers me. There was a story of a mom from Alaska who went to Southern California, went to Disneyland, and her child got measles, and she'd had her kid vaccinated twice for MMR. And the kid still got measles. And the mother ended up by saying, this is why we need to force everybody to take vaccines, because my child got it. And it's like, time out. Can you at least admit that the vaccine wasn't effective for your child? So why would you force that on me and not allow me to know what the risks are? I'm sorry, go ahead. I want to give you a chance to talk. Go ahead, Mike.
No. It just blows my mind how people cannot grasp such simple common sense in the things that are happening right now.
Yeah, they want to talk about herd immunity. It's a herd mentality. Why should we all have to have vaccines if the vaccines don't work? Thank you. Hang on, we're going to take some more calls in Overdrive. Stay with us. Nightly News tonight at 7 p.m. Bill, if we have time for everybody, let's go to Dean in California. Go ahead, Dean.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
Good. Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about some of those things. One would be different cures for cancer, but probably the most important thing on the list is how they're taming down society and killing people right now. Is the main way is through the water system, because the stuff that's in the water is the stuff that, like Prozac and all the other medicines that are being given to people, as well as the fluoride and all this other stuff like that. If you look on CNN, you'll see a news report several years ago talking about how the fish are not able to reproduce, the frogs are not able to reproduce, and if they do reproduce, the things are all messed up and retarded. So
are you close to the area where they had that black sludge that was coming out of the city water supply, and they kept telling everybody, don't worry how it looks, don't worry how it smells, it's safe to drink? Are you close to that area?
No, I have not heard that story. I don't watch the news much.
Yeah, we covered that on the radio yesterday. A pretty amazing story, and yet there's so many things. People were having a problem with that because it looked like crude oil and it stunk. But there's so many things in the water that people can't smell, can't taste, don't really understand how it's going to affect them. When we talk about fluoride, and we talked about it in that context because they were debating that in Dallas, when we talk about those issues, people don't realize that even if it were something that was safe and effective for you, a medication, why would you want to dump it into the water supply where you can't control the dosage that people are going to get? I mean, that's the crazy part about it. But as you're pointing out, there's a lot of stuff that they're deliberately putting in to try to, I think, harm people to lower the fertility rates. There's also stuff that passes through the bodies of the people who take these pharmaceuticals and find their way into the water supply and don't get filtered out. And that's where we can see these types of changes in aquatic life and that sort of thing.
Exactly. And the only in the news you see on the censored news, CNN, would be just about animals. But they forget about us, because the only way to get rid of that stuff is to either distill it or do a reverse osmosis. And nobody has full reverse osmosis. I mean, even people that drink reverse osmosis water still take a shower, and they get about 7 cups of water through their skin, the biggest organ of our body. I mean, it's ridiculous. People aren't aware of this stuff.
That's true. And very true. Well, thanks for sharing that. Let's go to Rick in Canada. Rick?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good. Go ahead. You're on live. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to start by saying I guess I'm a racist because I don't get vaccines or any kind of shots like that. But I'm a first-time caller, and I'm glad to see that you guys are selling oregano oil. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I've been taking oregano oil for over 5 years daily. Every day I take it. And I have not been sick, cold, flu, or anything since I started taking it.
Yes.
And I wanted to point out one thing, though. I don't necessarily agree that ingesting it into your stomach is the best way to be taking it. I was always taught to get the full effect of it, you need to put the liquid form underneath your tongue and let it absorb into the glands underneath your tongue, not on top of your tongue. So some tips I have for the burning effects is what me and my fiance do is if we brush our teeth first, it pretty well eliminates the burning. You don't even taste it. And then leave it sit for 30 seconds or a minute, and then drink a glass of milk or a glass of orange juice, and the burning is 100% completely gone.
Wow, that's an interesting take. Yeah, that's true. It's amazing how supplements, and I think this is what people, I've had these discussions with friends who are doctors, who are nurses, who won't try something even if it is cheap, and they won't try it for its effectiveness, even though it doesn't have any side effects. They're just so caught up in the medical community's narrative that they won't even give anything else a try. Absolutely. I've had the same experiences with oregano oil myself. Thanks for letting us know. Let's go to, we're out of time. Sorry, Frank and Bill and the rest of the people who just called in. Sorry we didn't have time to get to you. InfoWars Nightly News tonight at 7 p.m. And Alex will be back on Sunday at 4 p.m. Central. Had to think there for a second. Thanks for joining us.
Sold out for weeks to civilization for all of recorded history. Civilizations